We are live, hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for a URC semi-final for the ages. The Bulls taking on Leinster. Now, this is one of those games that any time that this happens and any time that we get to see it, everyone seems to always get that test match feel when it comes to one of the top South African sides going head to head with one of the top Irish sides as well. Looking through at the starting lineup for the Bulls, they had a few injury troubles heading into this contest. They have got no Kane Moody, they have got no Kurtley Arendse, and that is actually how it's going to be for the first test match up against the Irish. Both players already being ruled out for that game. But looking through, Gerhard Steenekamp alongside Johan Grobler and Wilco Low as the front row. Now, of course, they will have Aka van der Merwe to make his way off the bench, who always seems to add that late impact alongside being one of the top try scorers in the URC competition. Ruan Vermaak at number 4 with Ruan Nokia slotting in as the 5. Mako van Staden, Elric Lowe and Cameron Hanekom as the loose forward trio. Now, we should mention all these players in the starting side as well as the reserves. For the Bulls, they are not eligible to play in the contest between South Africa and Wales, but we will be looking through at the training squad throughout the build-up for this match to see exactly how the Springboks could shape up for their warm-up game up against the Welsh. Ambrose Papia will be the 9 with Johan Goosen as the 10. Harold Foster and one of the most informed 13s at the moment throughout the URC being David Kriel on his outside. Then it is Devon Williams out on that left wing. Kurtley Arendse, when he made his way from the field in the last contest up against Benetton, it changed the game. Before that point, he had scored 2 tries. After that point, it went silent for the Bulls. So what kind of impact can Devon Williams have? Can he be Arendse 2.0? Sergio Peterson out on the other wing. No Kane Moody for this game due to the finger injury. And Willie LaRue at number 15 to add stability at the back and a kicking game to match. It's a strong lineup for the Bulls even without those 2 X-Factor players that I did mention earlier. For Leinster though, when you look through at X-Factor, you've got to see the potential in this side. Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan and Tyke Furlong as the front row. Joe McCarthy, who had a blinder of a game last week up against Ulster, partnered with James Ryan in the locking duo. Ryan Beard, Josh Van den Flair and Caelan Doris adding a lot of stability to that loose forward trio, and a lot of Josh Van den Flair, you could say, is coming in this matchup. That's a really bad pun. I'm sorry, I'm quite excited for this game, as you may be able to tell. Jameson Gibson Park is the starting 9 alongside Ross Byrne at 10. Robbie Henshaw and Gary Ringrose as the midfield partnership with James Lowe, Jordan Lama and Jimmy O'Brien at number 15. No Hugo Keenan, of course, he is playing in the 7s at the moment, and he will be doing so for the Olympics as well. Looking at the chat, we have got hi all and Hamish. Welcome in, Robert. Hope you are doing very well. And hi Pizza as well, of course, a reference to the earlier live stream that we did do. Now, but it's here is going for the Cheetahs by the looks of it. Hi Hamish, hope you are well, says Ilmar, and tough game ahead. Hopeful that the Bulls will pull it through. Great that the Bulls have brought Ireland to South Africa. I thought it will surely be a dress rehearsal for the upcoming test at the same venue. And that's the thing, it's a little bit of a teaser, isn't it, for what we're going to get to see in the July internationals. Like I mentioned, there's already a list of 9 Springboks who will be unavailable because of injury heading into that Irish first test. Now, we will be going through them shortly, as well as looking at that Springbok squad that was announced more recently for those games up against Wales. It is considered a training squad, and that is because there will be players added in after the match has taken place. Marcel said, good afternoon, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. What time are you going live? I'm going live now. I assume that was just before, and Bulls for the win as well in the chat. Now, I should mention we are 25 minutes away from kickoff, which may sound like a little while, but we had to start early because we did want to analyse the Springboks team that has been announced, as well as kind of picking a little bit of a lineup that we would go with for the upcoming matchup against Wales. We have got g'day Hamish, as always, mate, checking in from Brisbane. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing extremely well, full of energy. It's almost 2 a.m. here in New Zealand, but it does not feel that way because this is going to be an epic game between these two sides. Do you South Africans far feel upset? The neighbour has gone to work for the enemy. I'm a neutral here. From what I've heard, I think that it's given quite a few South Africans a little bit more, I guess, alliance with Leinster, if that makes sense. Like, if that is possible, because of course that Irish and South African rivalry has grown quite a bit throughout the last 12 to 24 months. But from what I've heard, it does seem to be that South Africans kind of want Leinster to do a little bit well because they've gotten an A-bar as one of the coaches, if that makes sense. But at the same time, in a game like this, where it's going to be a South African side taking on an Irish side, you can tell, I can tell you right now who the South Africans are backing. OMG, mate, are you down in Red Bull like a champion or what? 2 a.m. Says James. I'm not actually sure what it is that's giving me all this energy, to be honest, but all of a sudden, about 30 minutes ago, I was just wide awake, rearing to go for this game. Greetings, Hamish in chat. Says Gus, welcome in. And it's going to be a nail biter for the Bulls. Says Alter. Now, I should mention, the Bulls come in as underdogs for this contest, ladies and gentlemen, and that is intriguing for myself, seeing as they are at Loftus, although I believe that not having Kutli Arendse and not having Kane Moody has actually heavily influenced the odds. Now, of course, like I mentioned, Arendse, anytime he's out on the field, brings that real impact, is able to change a game for this Bulls side. South Africans mostly hate Munster, says Albert there, and it's good to hear you chat early on in the game. Says Robert, yeah, it's been a little while since we've done a 30-minute build-up. I believe one of the last times we would have done one of 30 minutes was probably the Rugby World Cup, and we actually did a little bit longer than the 30, but there was just too much to talk about to try and fit it in 10 minutes worth before the game, so that's why we went so early, just so that we had a little bit more time to be able to talk and also not have to rush getting ready for the contest to take place. But looking through quickly at the reserves for these two sides, I already mentioned Akafunda Merva. He will be making his way off the bench later on for Johan Kribala, then Martin Zema and Klopper, the other two front row replacements here for the Bulls. Ludwig, Nassim Carr and Keegan Johannes is there as the number 21, Chris Smith, and also at number 23, it is Cornell Smith, or Smith, I should say, to finish off this Bulls lineup. Ronan Kelleher, Kian Healy, and Michael Alatoa as the front row. Ross Maloney and Jack Conan, they have gone with the 5-3, similar to the Bulls, and I feel like both sides have done that with a little bit of, I guess, security for their backline. We actually saw in that most recent Super Rugby semi-final, Billy Proctor ended up with that rib injury, but because of the 6-2 split off the bench for the Canes, it actually meant that he wasn't able to go off the field unless they were going to bring a forward on. So I think that, of course, that hasn't influenced these two sides, but in playoff rugby, you want to have all avenues covered, and that involves having back replacements just in case. Now, they've got very good ones here on the backs. Leinster, they've got Luke McGrath, Kieran Frawley, as well as Jamie Osborne as the other options there. Looking through at recent form for the Bulls, they've had 2 wins in a row, one up against the Sharks. That was the last round of the URC regular competition, and then having a close quarterfinal up against Benetton, which I think has also influenced the odds. People expected them to run away with that game. They did last time they played Benetton, but Benetton were well and truly up for the task. Bulls making a few errors and not quite able to be as clinical as a lot of people did expect. For the last 2 games of Leinster, we have seen one up against Ulster that was in their quarterfinal to win that game 23 points ahead of their Irish counterparts, and then the week before that they played another Irish side in Connaught and they were able to win it 33 points to 7. So they've had some great form, although they did lose that game to Toulouse just a little bit prior to that. As the Bulls the underdog, they certainly are. And I guess that's one of those ones that, you know, some people might find surprising. South Africans, the Bulls supporters, I think will find it a little bit surprising that their side are considered as the underdog, although I've talked to quite a few Bulls supporters throughout the week and they have actually said that they're expecting to lose this game. Now, I don't think that will be the team's mentality. I think they'll go out there and they will absolutely throw everything into it, and they have to, because Jake White, it's still talked about that Champions Cup quarterfinal, putting a B side out to face Northampton. This is the competition that the Bulls had their eyes on from day one, and they want to make sure that they walk away as the champs. I live close to Loftus. They had a fighter jet flying over already today. Says Albert there. And we're Leinster have the edges off the bench. We need Bulls starters to last at least 55 to 60 minutes. Also, Bulls are soft on restarts and dodgy on defence. Close to the line, come on Bulls, says Box Ski. And of course, last week, I have no idea what happened in that second half when it came to the resets, but everyone was dropping the ball. You know, we saw Rohan Nokia was going straight through him. That was pretty much every single person who tried to catch the ball off kickoff put it down in that second half, and that kept Benetton in the game. Definitely when they were just off conceding a try, they were able to get themselves their hands back on the ball inside of dangerous territory. So that's something that I know it sounds basic, but the Bulls probably worked on throughout this week, taking their time off the kickoff and making sure they regather so that they don't give that ball to the opposition. Nothing worse than a pessimistic mindset, says Justin. Bulls are looking confident. It's coming home, says Knowledge. And I believe we are the underdogs. I think we should win this game fairly easily if we are to use our talent, size, power, and strength, says Gary. So I'll ask you the question. Kutli Arendse, Kane and Moody. the exclusion of those two players due to injury, does that give you any concern out on the wing? I know that they have also replaced Sebastian de Klerk, and I think that was fair enough, as Onisi Ratave was just running over him time and time again last week. So they had to make that change. They've added Devon Williams in, who have Jordan Lama on the other wing, Sergio Pedersen, his pace matching up with James Lowe, who has scored quite a few tries for Leinster as of late. But Leinster will try to slow the game down with injuries, combat altitude. Says Andrew Smith. I mean, I'll be honest, the last time that we saw an Irish side that didn't really get affected by the altitude was actually Munster. The reason for that, though, wasn't any injuries or anything along those lines. It was the Bulls' handling. And we talked about it just before. Their game up against Benetton, they were dropping the ball quite often, and that actually gives a lot of, I guess, extra time for sides to recover. So if the Bulls want to drown Leinster in this game, and I know that sounds pretty brutal, but if they want to trap them and they want to really exhaust them, they have to have their handling right. Or else you give Leinster a minute or so each scrum to be able to regain a little bit more stamina and avoid that fatigue. It does. Kurt Lee was our main backline scorer. The Bulls have a dominant physicality. Says, I have to dominate physically. Says, knowledge Benetton were very sound this season, gave a lot of teams harder games than expected, says Gus. And I, Hamish, don't think so, says Brian. And there's, and look, current Irish starters starting in this Leinster team with 20 with test caps. And Bulls only have Villy from box starting team, says Albert. And yeah, it just shows the huge experience and also the huge stacked side that Leinster have got heading into this game. Of course, they did send over their B side just the last time that these two sides played off, and it was a little bit more one-sided than a lot of people anticipated, but that was just due to the fact that they did send over a bit of a weaker team. I think Ringrose will cause problems, says Andrew Smith, although it is still unconfirmed in terms of how strong he will be, depending on his injury, of course, because he was out for quite a bit of time. This is literally a preview of South Africa versus Ireland, says Knowledge, and also Joe McCarthy. Yeah, he was immense last week in the game up against Ulster, which I think is going to play a massive factor in this game as well. If he is able to get himself a few turnovers like he did in that last contest, he was just making it look easy the way that he was turning that ball over. I think he had 2 turnovers or maybe even 3 turnovers, one in that quarterfinal up against Ulster. And I'll be honest, it could be pretty similar in this game as well if he does get it right. But what we are going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to briefly touch upon the Springboks training squad that has been announced for their upcoming series. Well, it's a series, but it's a single game, so it's not really a series, but it is up against Wales. They have one game next weekend. We are covering that one on the channel in the training squad. You will see it rolling across the bottom. Pepsi Buthelezi, Joseph Dweber, Ben Jason Dixon, of course, a few Stormers in here. If they had won their quarterfinal match, they wouldn't have been available for this matchup. Better Steph Toy, Eben Etzebeth. A lot of people excited to see him back in the green and gold. Niling Fouché for the DHL Stormers as well. Vincent Koch of the Sharks. Now, quite a few Sharks players will be relatively fresh heading into this Welsh series. Frans Malherbe, Malcolm Marks. Now, I know he is one that a lot of people are excited to see back in action. Bongi Manambi, another one of the hookers that they have got available. Mtutuko Machunu is there for the Sharks. And Salman Murat, whose name I've mispronounced, but we'll get there by the time he gets a Springbok cap. Franco Mostert back from the Honda Heat. Oxney. I'll tell you what, we're too quick. We've caught up with it. Evan Royce. I know that he is one that a lot of people are curious to see how he is going to go. Quaha Smith, there were injury concerns about that man, but he does seem like he's going to be relatively close to 100% for the upcoming match. Andre Hugo Fenta and also Jasper Vesa, the last man in the Springboks training squad for their forwards. Now, we will look through at the backs in a short moment, but I have to say, plenty of strength in this side. We also saw Guameti added in late. That was to replace Cheslin Colby, who has been left out, but then Colby's come back in, so I think Guameti is still with the squad, but I'm not sure. Are they versing Wales only once? Yeah, but it is just the one match, and then it is 2 matches up against the Irish that is coming up. Now, of course, looking through at this Leinster side, we do see what does look like pretty close to what the Irish starting lineup will be, with a couple extra maybe Munster players and a couple Ulster men added in there as well. But I mean, we're going to see Van den Flair, we're going to see Joe McCarthy, Furlong, Porter, Sheehan, all of those names added in there. I think that Malcolm Marks, a lot of people curious to see how much game time he gets in the match up against Wales, whether or not they do start him, whether they have him coming off the bench. But either way, that man brings a huge amount of impact. A lot of Sharks players, shows the quality of the Sharks players. Nevertheless, it seems very diverse. Says knowledge, and of course I should mention this is just the training squad. Now, a lot of these players, unfortunately, will lose their spots to other players who come in after the Bulls are either victorious in the URC or knocked out of the URC. Also, a few more overseas players, I believe, will return in a little bit of time. I don't see the Bulls winning here. Let's hope they do. And Wales also in the end of year tour twice in 2024. Says Albert, and I believe, is it the Irish? Or no, New Zealand play England in the end of year tour. Do South Africa play Ireland in a third match? I think they do, don't they, if I'm correct there. Now, I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, players who were left out due to injury for this training squad, as well as going to be out for that first game up against the Irish, have been confirmed as Stephen Kitsoff, Jean Klein, Lou Diacha, Jean-Luc Dupré, and they are all of the forwards that have been left out. A few others, of course, who are playing for the Bulls have not been selected due to their commitments to the URC. But looking through once again at not just the forwards, but also the backs that are available in the Springbok training squad. Damien Dialende is there. It's been a while since we've seen him in action in that international kit, of course, doing very well throughout the Rugby World Cup. Faf de Klerk, Andre Esterhuizen. There is a battle for 12 at the moment, and plenty of great options that could take that jersey on. Apalele Fasi, will he be the starting fullback for the South Africans in that game up against the Welsh? Jordan Hendrickse, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, Ethan Hooker, a player who has played his absolute hardest throughout this season for the Sharks, been one of their shining lights in a side that has been struggling. Juan Horn, Cheslin Colby, unsure whether or not he is going to be there. There's been about 15 different headlines saying he's in, then he's out, then he's in, then he's out. For now, he is in the side, though. Jesse Creel, Mani Libok, who, of course, will want to put that quarterfinal behind him, Makazole Mapimpi, Sia Masuku, and then also Hondre Pollard, Morne Vandenberg. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Lions halfback can do alongside the winger for the Lions, Edwell van der Merwe, and then Grant Williams, the last player for the Springboks in that training squad. So, of course, throughout all these players that I've just mentioned, they will be putting together a team to face off up against the Welsh in next weekend. Now, I should mention the backs who are unavailable for this match for the Welsh, as well as the upcoming first match up against the Irish: Jaden Hendrickse, Hinko van Wyk, Kanan Moody, Damian Valimza, and Kutli Arendse. Now, all I'm going to say is that's a pretty good backline that they aren't going to have available for the Springboks here, but still a lot of depth alongside it. And in your tour against Boxer, England, Wales, and Scotland, also they don't actually have the Irish in that last one. Any chance a final will be South Africans versus Scots? It's going to be tricky for Glasgow because they do have to beat Munster at Thorntman Park. We are covering that game just around the corner as well, I should mention, so be sure to stay tuned for that one, as it is going to be a very entertaining game when it does take place. Sasha and Ethan Hooker at centre against Wales would be interesting, says Justin. Now, I should also mention, in the near future, I believe it will be probably tomorrow, is when we are going to have the video coming out of myself and Rugby Itch deciding what we would have as our starting Springboks lineup, as well as the reserves. 2 Irish teams make the finals. That is also a possibility. We could see 2 Irish teams making their way through Leinster versus Munster. Now, if that was the case, it would be a home game for Munster. If the Bulls win this game and Munster win, it will be a home game for Munster. So they're in a good position at the moment and getting themselves that important win over Ulster at the end of the comp. I feel as if the Springbok uncapped forwards should gain more weight. I mean, it depends, because maybe that's not the plan this year for Rassie Erasmus. We don't know what his plan is, and that's what makes it so much fun, because no one really knows what to expect from Rassie now that we're outside of that World Cup year. We're back into the cycle. We're at the start of it. Does he want to go for more pace in the forwards this year? Does he want them to bulk up over the next couple of years so that they're huge by the time we get towards that matchup for the Rugby World Cup opener? And would have loved a South African final. Says knowledge there, and well done for doing this commentary, mate, says Andrew Smith. No worries at all. And of course, we are going to be doing plenty more of it in the future. We have got the final next week, as well as the Super Rugby final, the Springboks versus Wales game we are covering next week on the channel as well. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Physical dominance is always the Springbok plan. It may be, but at the same time, Rassie Erasmus maybe has a couple tricks up his sleeve. The one thing that I don't think anyone has ever said in their lives is Rassie Erasmus is a predictable coach. He just doesn't, he has plans upon plans. I think that the man dreams about different things that he wants to put onto the field and then somehow makes them happen. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they go in the matches up against the Irish, as well as that warm-up game up against the Welsh. And then we're heading into the Rugby Championship as well, ladies and gents. All the All Blacks up the mighty Chiefs. Says revelation, the T20 World Cup is here, and local sports reports aren't even mentioning it. The USA team made history. And that's a shame for the USA, because they should be getting a lot of credit. They beat Pakistan at the end of the day in the Super Over, which is something that no one would have predicted. And having Tony Brown in the mix might mean we're getting some running rugby, says Justin, and came in to say, go the Bulls, Southern Hemisphere power, good night, I'm drunk as, says Doctor. And there as well, but for anyone wondering about this Bulls starting lineup in this contest, they are as follows: Gerhard Stennekamp alongside Johan Grubela and Wilco Low there, as the number 3, Ruan Vermaak and Ruan Nokia will make up the locking duo, with Marco van Staden, Elric Low and Cameron Hanekom there as the number 8. Now, he is a player who I believe, had it not been for him being in the Bulls camp, I think he would have got himself into that Springbok selection for the training squad. And Bros Papia probably in that same boat, with Johan Goosen on the outside. And number 10, Harold Foster and David Krill will be the midfield combo, with Devon Williams, Sergio Pedersen and Willie LaRue there at number 15. For Leinster, Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan and Tyke Furlong make up the front row, with Joe McCarthy and James Ryan in the locking duo. Like I mentioned, he had a fantastic game last week. For Joe McCarthy, he needs to back it up again. Is it possible? I believe so, although he's going up against the Ruans, Ruan Vermaak and Ruan Nokia. It's going to be a pretty entertaining battle. Ryan Beard at 6, with Josh Finn and Flair sorting in as the 7, with Doris off the back of the Leinster scrum. Jamison Gibson Park, he has to be the ringmaster in this game. He has to be able to control this backline. Quick recycling of the ball. The Bulls will try and shut it down for Leinster, as that will be their best bet of being victorious in this game. But as we saw, Leinster, as well as Ireland, they have a little bit of a skill of when the rush defence is flying, if they can get that one good offload, they can create themselves the line break. Ross Byrne will be at 10. Robbie Henshaw and Gary Ringrose, a formidable midfield that we haven't actually seen together for quite some time. James Lowe, Jordan Lama and Jimmy O'Brien sorting in as the back 3. Looking at the benches for these two sides, Akafanamurva, Matanzima and Klopper alongside Ludwig and Karg, both sides going with the 5-3. And this matchup, Keegan Johannes alongside Chris Smith, and also Cornell Smith is there for the last Bulls player. Keller, Healy and Alalatoa in the front row alongside Maloney, Conan as the other two forward replacements, McGrath, Frawley and Osborne as the backs. We have got congratulations to the Chiefs, too good for our games. All the best to the Chiefs and their fans for next week's grand final. Rassi hasn't even changed half the coaching staff. He is definitely plotting another different genius technique. Rassi sleeps less than you. Always thinking about plans, says Brian. And there as well. And tell you what, during international rugby season, as well as these last few weeks, sleeping less than myself is actually very impressive. We have had weekends where we've got 3 hours of sleep from being awake for 40. She's pretty brutal, but we get there in the end, and we are heading towards the business end of this competition now. James Lowe and McCarthy are the only huge threats of Leinster at the moment, says Knowledge. With a name like Van den Flair, he should really be a winger, says Eric. And 3 weeks until England thump New Zealand. And also we have got there James Lowe and McCarthy are the only huge threats. Oh, sorry, I read that one, didn't I? Although there's a few other guys in there, like Dan Sheehan, I think, shouldn't be underestimated what he's able to do. Yes, he scores a lot of tries off rolling mauls, but his open play over the ball as well. Like him versus Malcolm Marx is going to be absolutely awesome when we get to see it for the Irish 2 matches. Why isn't it 3? That's the big question. I know that the Boks are playing Portugal, but come on, we need 3 matches between South Africa and Ireland. We don't want 1-1 in that series. We want a clear winner. And what is your personal perspective on this game, Hamish? Who wins and how, says Knowledge? I believe I could tell you how I think both sides would be able to win. I honestly don't know who takes this, because I don't know how much the Bulls have improved their kickoffs from last week. But I know that up against Leinster, they will be a little bit more clinical in terms of the way that they're able to attack from a reset mistake. Unlike Benetton, who did normally take a few more phases to get something going, but man, they put on a good showing for a side that were away from home, side that not many people gave them even a single hope to win that game. And also the fact that the Bulls don't have Kurtley Ardenser and Kane and Moody, I think is going to have a little bit of an impact. But I believe the way that the Bulls win this game is they have to try and wear down this Leinster side. Kicking battle, it could go either way. It's really hard to tell. at Loftus because, of course, you can use it a little bit to your advantage of getting those long kicks in behind, but every once in a while the ball goes dead and then you find yourself losing those 50 or 60 metres. But yeah, for the Bulls, I believe it's the physicality and being able to match the Irish and also add a little bit more, as well as that rush defence. Now, for Leinster to be able to win this game, I believe they have to try and shut down that rush defence of the Bulls. They have to try and find those little pop passes. McCarthy was doing it well last week. Gibson Park's got the ability of offloading. Ringrose and Henshaw, I think, will be a dangerous combo. But then David Creel, he's been one of the most informed 13s throughout this year. Morning, Hamish brother, says Birdie V. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Do you think Dweber should be in the lineup? As a line-out throw has always been inconsistent. Gives away silly penalties. He's a huge bloke, but I hope he proves me wrong. I think he's gotten better this year, I believe, from the URC. You know, when we see him for the Stormers, he's looking a lot stronger. But at the same time, you know, it does hurt you when your job is to throw that ball in, and that's the one thing that you do struggle with, if that makes sense. Dweber is decent on defence, but Andre Hugo-Fento is a good prospect for the future number 2 jersey. Glad they have him in the mix, says Justin. And, of course, like I mentioned, me and Rugby Itch, we've actually done our lineup predictions for that upcoming game between South Africa and Wales. I'm going to give you a spoiler. I put Andre Hugo-Fento in my starting lineup. I decided to put him in the deep end straight away and see whether or not he goes all right. And I've done that with a couple other players as well for that Springbok squad, so you have to wait and see exactly who I did put in there. Hi, Hamish says, Ez Kilroy, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well and hope you are very excited for this contest. Looking at the way that the table sat at the end of the regular season, ladies and gentlemen, the Bulls were in second. Now, if it wasn't for that last win that we saw for Munster at the end of the contest up against Ulster, the Bulls would have been number 1, and they would have had a home final all the way if, of course, they managed to get themselves a win in this game, although they also wouldn't have been playing Leinster at this stage of the contest. They instead would have been playing more than likely Glasgow, if that was the case. But Bulls versus Leinster looks like a pretty decent Loftus crowd for this matchup. It is going to be a very exciting game, ladies and gentlemen. Also, for anyone wondering, the Lions had a better points differential than Ospreys, but due to wins is actually what boosted Ospreys up. I know that there was a bit of confusion around that, so just to clarify, in this competition, it was how many wins you had, and then it was your points differential. So even though their points differential was almost 100 points better, they don't quite get there because of that technicality. We have got the always deserves a Springbok call-up. Dweber would make a great bomb squad hooker. And so as the Bulls win and Glasgow win, Bulls have a home final. Exactly right. Yep. So it would be a home final at Loftus. So, of course, if the Bulls get over the line here, they will be hoping that the Scottish can get the job done up against the other Irish side. There is also a chance, I have to mention it, an all-Irish final could happen if we see 2 Irish wins here. Leinster come in as favourites. I honestly believe that is heavily due to the odds changing. And the reason that they've changed is because of the huge impact that we can see from Kane Moody and also from Kurtley Arendse. Now, first half is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking less than 5 minutes. In fact, we're talking less than 2 minutes. Have you been following the T20 World Cup? Yeah, a lot of upsets coming throughout the one, including New Zealand already being knocked out, but that was slightly their own fault for not having a warm-up game. Now, I should mention, this is a little bit of not a power play per se, but it is, you know, it's going to be interesting because Leinster are wearing their away kit or their alternative strip. They are wearing the white camouflage rather than that classic blue. Now, of course, the Bulls are the home side. They have got the light blue, and the kits would slightly collide, so they are not allowed the same, which is why we see Leinster in their rear white kit for this matchup as they make their way out of the tunnel of players, Satutu versus Satiti next week. It's going to be a great battle because both of those guys, I believe, do deserve All Blacks call-ups for this year. Dweber is a bomb that will blow up in your face. Disappointed it's not a sellout. I'll be honest, I am too. I would have thought that this is the type of game that if this doesn't sell out a crowd for a URC contest involving 2 different nations, including a South African side, like, I don't know what would. Because, of course, if it was 2 South African sides, maybe it would be a sellout. But this is literally a preview of what we're going to see in about 2 or 3 weeks' time when South Africa face Ireland. 2-match series. I wish it was 3, but they decided not to. Nepal benefit from altitude training, says Eric J. And there as well, but the Bulls being led out onto the field Ruan Nokia. They've had a lot of chats with him over the last few weeks when he has been in the captain's interview after the game. Last week, he mentioned about it. Their restarts were shocking the Bulls. They were dropping the ball every time it was kicked to them. Johan Goosen, what type of game are we going to see from him? Is it going to be running based, or is it going to be more orientated towards trying to get a few kicks in behind? These are the questions that are soon to be answered, ladies and gentlemen, but I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back for the next matchup that has taken place between Munster and Glasgow, so be sure not to miss that one. You're sounding good this morning, Hamish. Thank you for your outstanding enthusiastic commentary in the Canes-Chiefs game too. Says John, no worries at all. Of course, we're going to be back for the final next week for the the Blues versus the Chiefs. That should be an awesome game. Of course, we're going to be here for that one as well, but the Bulls are kicking off this one. There is still a little bit of sun in the background. We're sitting around 4 p.m. local time at Loftus, which does mean maybe the sun will play factor on the far side of the field for the next 30 to 60 minutes, but after that, she's going to be close to an evening game. Altitude is real. I was in the military on the Highveld. Says a lollipop, but it's kicked off long, almost a miscommunication at the back, but it is well taken by Ross Byrne, looking for the touchline, doesn't find it. Philly LaRue, already by this stage, the Bulls almost scored themselves a try in their last game up against Benetton. In fact, give them 10 more seconds and they had one. That is the type of impact that this Bulls side can bring to a contest, but Ambrose Papier goes off to Philly LaRue, trying the kick in behind. It's going to be straight into the sun, but well handled by Leinster. Driving tackle made by the Bulls defence. Andrew Porter in behind, goes to Ross Byrne, short ball to Furlong. This game's going to be played at a frantic pace, and you wonder who will be able to handle it better. Back into the pocket to Ross Byrne from Gibson Park, and he looks to put it right. Good chasing of the ball there for Jordan Lama. Taken on the halfway line by Devon Williams. Massive role to play in this game. Rush defence from Sheehan is ineffective as he does miss the tackle. And Ambrose Papier now rolling this ball back. He thought about going for it. It looks like Leinster are going to cause a bit of a disruption there. And Papier decides against the box kick. Now off to Foster on the short side. For the Bulls, it's just about putting together some phases here. I can see that Papier is setting up for a kick eventually. He just wants that angle to be there for him. Going to go back across to Philly LaRue, who will in fact go for the kick. Cameron Honeycomb fending off one. Nicely claimed by James Lowe, who will go for the kick of his own off his non-favourable right boot. Leinster by 15 plus, says Charisse. I don't know about that. I feel like we're going to get a lot closer game. The mark is called by Ross Byrne, and we are already 100 seconds into this game, and there's been a lot of kicking. I hope Munster get a home final, says Connor there. And also, it's been a long time I've been here. Now where's Marco Vanapola? I don't know if he'll be on for this one. He was on for the last game between the Chiefs and the Hurricanes, though. Byrne looking for the touchline and does find it effectively. It will be the line out now for for the Bulls, inside of their own half. And already we see James Ryan down with an injury. What has happened here? Captain of Leinster getting some early attention. I think that was from a clean out and a breakdown. Was completely legal, but I take a bit of a knock already. Line out stats so far this season, we have got 88% for the Bulls, 85% for Leinster in this game. Johan Grobela gets it straight into the hands of Vermaak. Now David Creel with the Waikato pass to Sergio Peterson. Was that a foot trip from James Lowe? I don't think he connected with him, but it was very close to one. The ball wasn't touched for Peterson, though. He's looking into the sun going like this. The man needs some sunglasses out on the wing for this first half. Oh no, he just slipped over, unfortunately, for Sergio Peterson. I think Leinster is strong for the Bulls today, says Quandele. And also the Bulls can win this game with a big score. Good luck for them, says Julian Moses. Dan Sheehan, though, about to throw this ball in for Leinster, looking straight into the sun. The straight line out. That's going to be Gibson Park with a bounce pass to Robbie Henshaw. Short ball from Ringrose. Finds Doris and straight over the ball. Honeycomb is so good at getting those turnovers for the Bulls, and he's got another one there. Now Wilco Lowe has to play halfback. Philly LaRue trying the cross kick again. This time it sits up for the Bulls. And nice run down the wing from Elric Lowe. Manages to just stay in the field of play. Counter ruck coming from Leinster, though. It was legal, so I believe either of these sides are allowed to touch this ball, and it's popped out the side. And it looks like it is going to be the Bulls line out now. A real scrap in the breakdowns at the moment between these two sides. Leinster are trying to counter-ruck with one or two players. Handicom had that turnover almost before Doris had even hit the ground. That was how quick he got in over that ball. Definitely a future Springbok, that man, with the way that he has been playing throughout the season. And it is going to be now the line out for the Bulls, like I mentioned, and the rolling maul is now starting up. They are sitting 40 metres out from the line at the moment. They have been told to use it once here for the Bulls. And this one's completely stopped here. Referee has told them to use it, and Bros Papia goes across to Johan Huos. A big shot on Hanekom from Gary Ringrose. That is a brave challenge to make when you've just come back from an injury. Now Doris wanted the turnover. He's told to get out of it. Villy LaRue again is kicking here. It seems like the tactic is extremely clear to me at the moment that they want Villy LaRue to be the playmaker in terms of his kicking game. They want him to get those kicks up early, try and maybe force Leinster back a little bit in terms of that territory game, and also look for those cross kicks nice and early. James Lowe now going for the big boot downfield. Of course, altitude will play a factor in how far this one goes. Well handled at the back by Johan Hussen. And now he's looking to kick it back down the middle of the field. James Lowe, he's being told by his teammate to kick it towards the touchline. Has all the time in the world. And that one has not found touch. It would have been inside of the 22 of the Bulls. Now Johan Hussen strikes it downfield. Once again taken by Lowe. He's got all the time in the world again. And it's inside this time. Manages to find the touchline, and a fantastic kick from James Lowe. About 60 metres now down the field for that one. There's a president, says James. Yeah, I have no idea who the president of South Africa is, I'll be honest. I hardly know who's in charge of New Zealand. England thumping New Zealand, says Charisse. But now currently 6 minutes in. The crowd are smart. They've got their sunglasses on that far side. Of course, the sun will be a factor in the early stages. Hrubla about to throw this ball in for the Bulls. Nicely claimed by Ruan Vermaak. Of course, both of these sides want the bragging rights. With Leinster, of course, a lot of their players going into Ireland for that international series up against South Africa. And of course, the Bulls, they'll have a few men getting in there as well. Elric Lowe, in fact, this time it's Hanekom, now Papier, going back, little chip in behind from Johan Hussen, knocked on from Devin Williams, and he took that very well. He made up the metres that he needed to, and it almost could have been a try had he been able to hang on to that one. Have referees been more strict lately in regards to getting the ball out of the ruck? Usually in the past when referees say use it, they weren't as strict. I mean, some referees are a little bit more strict now, but that is only because we've seen times where teams have been told to use it, and then it's a further maybe about 15 seconds, or not 15, but like 5-10 seconds before we actually see the player use that ball. Going to say Leinster by 10. Says Andrew Smith, power sharing concessions included. Says Eric J. Who's the president of New Zealand Rugby? I honestly couldn't tell you, to be honest. I got some butter pound muffins from Costco earlier, Hamish. Great meal for 2 a.m. Butter pound muffins. I've never heard of them, but it's something I would be keen on. 902 kgs for the Bulls in this game compared to the 888 kgs of Leinster. So just a little bit of a advantage for the Bulls in this game. But Leinster were the first scrum feed of this contest. Now, it's holding solid. In fact, the Bulls, I would say, actually got the better of that one. It's come out the back for Jameson Gibson Park, and now he's got a lot of space to work with. Goes for the kick in behind. Looks like he's not going to win the foot race. It curls 1 metre out from the try line. That is very lucky for Gibson Park, because if that had gone 1 more metre to the side, from there, we would have ended up seeing it go right back about 15 metres. American Stormate, yeah, I know what Costco is. I'm not sure what butter pound muffins are, though. They are the thing that's got me intrigued. Is that like butter pound muffins? Or is that the store name? My first time hearing it too, says Mr. Orland. Now 5 metres out from the line. Going to be throwing this one in. Nicely claimed by Ruan Nokia. Papier goes across now to Macho van Staden. Let's have to make sure the defence is strong in this game, as well as that kicking. Like I mentioned, when you're playing at altitude, there is a chance that ball goes a little bit further than you anticipate. Johan Hussen now looking for the touchline. Gets it out just outside of the Bulls 22. The Chiefs and the Blues will play in the final. They certainly will, and it will be at Eden Park due to that home field advantage going in favour of the Blues, seeing as they finished second rather than the Chiefs, who finished in fourth. Now, I should mention, if the Bulls win this game, depending on the result of that other game, if Munster were to win, it would be a Munster home final. But if we do see Glasgow cause an upset up against Munster, which would actually be both upsets, or both sides who weren't supposed to win winning, it would be a home game for the Bulls. The short ball from Robbie Henshaw gets it away to Dan Sheehan. He's looking to get through the gap. Elric Lowe putting pressure in the breakdown. Similar to what Leinster did earlier on, it looks like the Bulls are also going to be using that tactic of trying to commit men to the breakdown. And big run here from Tyke Furlong. Makes about 3 metres, but he worked a lot harder than the metres represent. Robbie Henshaw, missed tackle from Nokia. Ends up with a little bit more of a gap coming through, and that's going to be the knock-on from Leinster. Bulls will get themselves the scrum. Van Flair, the man who has knocked that one on. Just from the first 10 minutes or so, it does seem to be, if you're going to put pressure on the opposition breakdown, that's going to cause little errors, whether that is just disrupting it a little bit longer or those handling errors. All butter croissants much lighter than your £1 muffin, says Eric J there. And like they've just said there, it was Ambrose Papier. He stood up to the ruck and then he stepped back, which caused Leinster to fall over the front. And then that also caused a bit more of an opportunity for the Bulls to go for that counter ruck as well. Looks like Ruan Nokia is just getting some tape on his boot. I don't know whether or not that is actually his foot that's injured or whether it's just his boot has fallen apart within the first few moments of this game. Probably not the best representative for Puma if his boots have fallen apart after 10 minutes in a contest. The crowd are having a lot of fun by the looks of it in the stands. They will be absolutely loving it. Yep, Puma. Unfortunately for Nokia, his boot has well and truly come apart. So they're trying to tape it up, make it a little bit more watertight. And yeah, it looks a lot better now for Ruan Nokia. Puma, the brand. You know, the brand. Unless you're saying Puma. Are you saying Puma rather than Puma? Maybe. Mike Adamson on the touch line for this matchup. Just seen him wandering past the camera, but Ambrose Papier about to feed this ball in. Oh no, he's standing right in front of Adamson. Get out of the way. He was pretty much mimicking where the cameraman was going. At one point, Ambrose Papier. Now ball is in the back. That's gone down. And the front row's collapsing on this near side, but it is going to be play on now. Johan Goosen sells the dummy. Gets it away. Harold Foster now goes to David Krell, who will sink the slipper into it. And look for a 50-22. It's curling. It's still going. It's rolling. It's rolling. It's going to pull up in the in-goal area. So it will now be a 22 dropout for Leinster. But David Krell just wanted that ball to pull up a little bit sooner than at Bull Stake. Will be lekker to the bride today. In fact, why is it a goal line dropout here? Should be 22. I think they've just marched him up a little bit further. But David Krell actually number 18. In terms of the rankings for the overall URC competition and the way that he has played, it's pretty undeniable that he's going to be up there in the top 20. Who's your favourite international team besides the All Blacks? That's a question that gets me in a lot of trouble because no matter how I answer, people get angry. But I also would say, like, yes, I'm from New Zealand, but we are pretty impartial when it comes to the international game. That is going to be a Johan Goosen drop kick attempt. He's missed away to the side. Okay, if they ground it, it's going to be a 22 dropout again. And this seems like it's going to be the Bulls' tactic that every time Leinster kick it down to them, Johan Goosen's probably going to line up a drop kick. So maybe Leinster will try a slightly different tactic this time. Right, what's the plan now? I have to say we haven't really seen this rule manipulated much in terms of the 22 dropout to then have a drop kick attempt. Are we going to see 2 attempts in a row here from Johan Goosen? They will kick it off long again. This time it's hanging in the air. Nicely taken by Elric Lowe. So I think they put a little bit more height on that one, Leinster, to stop that chance of a drop kick coming in. Wilco Lowe running straight at Josh Van den Flair. 3 post-contact meters for him. Ambrose Papier across now to Johan Goosen, who will once again go for the kick up high. Sergio Pedersen chasing. It's going to be a big knock on from James Lowe. Well claimed by Ruan Nokia. At least I thought it was a knock-on from Lowe. I think they've said it was actually slapped back by the Bulls, which would then mean we are play on here. Villy LaRue, another cross-kick attempt. You know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, keep on trying. Elric Lowe, good power there. Ross Byrne has to drag him down, but it was not easy to be able to do so. Morning, come on, Leinster, says Yvonne, and mine is Italy because I have low expectations for them. Says cool story, bro. Now Villy LaRue goes across to Foster. Rush defense from Gary Ringrose. LaRue, he's got space to work with. Goes on the outside to Cameron Hanekom. One more to Peterson. He tried to keep the ball alive, and I think they have just managed to keep this ball in the field of play here, the Bulls. But Ambrose Papia under a lot of pressure. They're 10 metres out from the line here for the Bulls. Johan Goosen, another cross kick from Villy LaRue. Oh, and he's now wrestling a guy on the ground. He's got to be careful doing that, because if it wasn't a late shot, Villy LaRue could end up with a penalty against him. And morning, come on, Leinster. We have Villy LaRue talking to the referee there, saying he was taken out late. We're going to see it there, McCarthy. Let's connect with him a little bit. Was it late enough to be regarded as a late shot? Okay. They've said that it's all right. Villy LaRue is swearing at the referee. He's got to be careful doing that. All I'm going to say is his temper may get the better of him here. Of course, playoff rugby brings out those aggressive natures that some players didn't even know that they had. Villy LaRue, we knew he had it. He loves a good yell at a ref. And I don't think this game's going to be any different. I like England now, but I didn't like that 2003 England team because they were good. Says cool story, bro. Looks like Jimmy O'Brien just getting a few tests done on him at the moment to make sure he's going to be all right. Looks like the right shoulder is the one giving him a bit of strife. Villy LaRue, he's gone for about 7 cross kicks already in the opening stages of this game. But Jimmy O'Brien, it was actually the bump off from Eldrick Lowe who used his power to be able to just bulldoze his way forward. LaRue is always complaining about everything, says Charisse. He is a bit, yeah, but he's a good player, Villy LaRue. Third is for the losers, says Eric J. Third is for losers. Are we talking like the URC? Oh no, but they came third in the World Cup. I see what you're saying now. In your head, Rasi, he's in your head. Says T7 and 2 good, says cool story, bro. But now we are going to have ourselves the line out here for Dan Sheehan and Leinster. I'll be looking to throw this ball in relatively straight for Sheehan. Third is for losers, but better than 4th, 5th, or 6th. That's going to be overthrown. The Bulls clean it up, or do they? No. It's gone loose, and it's actually going to be the knock-on now from the Bulls. Leinster back in position. Like I've said, they've got the scrum advantage at the moment here. This Leinster side. Rolling it back, it's going to be Jameson, Gibson, Park. Puts it up high. And well claimed on the halfway line by Leinster again. Oh, a little bit of off-the-ball stuff between Hanekom and Dan Sheehan. Seen about 4 players so far in this game throughout the first 14 minutes. Look at the sideline ref and ask for a penalty. 2 from each side. Gibson Park now getting ready to put this ball up. Doesn't actually have anyone there guarding, which could have led to a charge down for Ruan Vermaak. I think that ball's bounced in the field of play. Yes, it has. Johan Goosen left it to try and get that one to go out on the full, but it doesn't quite work out that way. Springboks will win Wallace next week. I assume that's Wales next week, and I will mention we've got a video coming out probably tomorrow on the channel, and that will be regarding who we think will be selected for the Springboks in the game up against the Welsh, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. Yeah, great kick from James at Gibson Park. If it had been a metre to the side, would have been a different story, but now Johan Goosen more than likely will be receiving a kick back or a pass back, although Hanekom, nice attacking run from him, moves up. Oh, referee getting involved with Josh Van den Flair. It's being taken back by the Bulls. Not taken cleanly. It was knocked back by Jordan Lama. Goes for a kick of his own. That looked too hard to me, although luckily he's got Villy LaRue, who was waiting for it at the back alongside Johan Goosen, who now looks for the 50-22. This ball's going to keep on rolling. It does pull up in the in-goal area. James Lowe able to dawdle it back up to the 22 and send it downfield, looking for the touchline. It doesn't find touch, though. It's a little bit of an adjustment for both of these sides by the looks of it, playing at altitude. The kicks aren't quite going where they are aiming. Ball's gone high, well taken by Jimmy O'Brien. It's cut down by Sergil Peterson. Still 0-0 between these two sides. And on the short side now, Ringrose gets it away to Joe McCarthy. Offloads it up to James Lowe. Driven towards the touchline by Wilco Lowe. Gibson Park across to Porter. Rush defence on Ross Byrne. Knock on from Dan Sheehan. And the Bulls now looking for the offload out the back door. And they'll go back for the scrum again. That was a moral win for New Zealand with 14 men, says Cool Story Bro. And Wales are usually tough for us to beat due to them playing a very similar style as South Africa. Up front, physical rush defence kicking game, says T7. Yeah, just the knock on from Dan Sheehan. The pass was too far behind him to be able to regather. Currently already 17 minutes down in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. It is still a close one between these two sides. Neither side being able to score any form of points up till this stage. Now, the Bulls have had one drop kick attempt. That's probably the most that we've seen in terms of chances. My second team is Argentina because they got the short stick geographically and they play watchable rugby, says Ilma. Yeah, Argentina are a very passionate side as well. Like, anytime you see them take to the field, they will play as if they know, or at least that they think that they are going to win a game, which is fantastic to see. And it was also great to see them make it through to the semi-finals of the Rugby World Cup. Wales will beat South Africa because the Welsh are losing interest, says Krampus. Also, South Africa plays at 90% outside World Cups, says Goal Story Bro. Nice run forward from Cameron Hanekom. Moves up to 22. That looked like a throw off the ball from Mako van Staden. They may check that one, but great run from Billy LaRue. Puts it on the outside to Devin Williams. As long as that wasn't an illegal clean-out from Mako van Staden, that is going to be the first try of the contest for the Bulls. I can't knock the Pumas, underrated in my opinion, says Anthony Walsh. And also try time for the Bulls. Go, says Julian Moses. Right, the TMO will tell him if it is infringement. They're going to check this now, I believe. They're just making sure there was nothing. Oh, hang on. Double blow of the whistle. I mentioned about it. Mako van Staden, this might have been ill-discipline here. Are they going to go back and have a look at this one? Yep, they're going upstairs. This would be really stupid from Mako. Yep, there's a clear takeout off the ball from Mako van Staden. All I'm going to say is that's idiotic in this case. If this gets ruled out because of that ill-discipline, that changed absolutely nothing for the Bulls in that scenario. We're going to see that Mako van Staden just randomly pulls. Yeah, it's blatant, it's stupid, and it's just cost his side a try. So it's going to be the penalty going the way of Leinster. Roa Nokia is saying, sir, please look at it again, try and find something. But there's nothing you can say other than that's just an illegal clean-out from Mako van Staden. It's a very clear tackle off the ball, is what they have said. So it is going to be no try, and the Bulls will remain on 0 now. And they're showing there Mako van Staden. I mean, one benefit that he's got is he no longer wears the headgear, so he doesn't stand out as much, but that one stood out, unfortunately, there. And Lenny Wales beats South Africa. I will make the Welsh think we are good now. We will watch again. Sounds like a Bulls thing to do, says Cool Story Bro. And Dumb Bulls, says Lollipop. Yeah, the penalty goes the way of Leinster, and they are now able to kick it down into the half of the Bulls. Okay, I think Nokia's talking with the referee here. Okay, so they're trying to say that Ross Byrne was obstructing. This is what the South African commentator is saying anyway. Mako van Staden was obstructed by Ross Byrne to the side of the breakdown. Up to Hamish, says Bill. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Sounds like a Bulls thing to do. And Hamish in chat says, bystander, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. 20 minutes into this contest, still 0-0 between the two sides. I should mention that that Bulls try has been disallowed. And this actually looks like Leinster are going to take on a shot at the posts to give them an early lead. And this matchup, we're already a quarter of the way through the contest. I should mention we've got another game that is happening just around the corner. And that is going to be the one. We'll see. That's a little bit unlucky for Cameron Hanekom. That one was pretty close to be in favour of the Bulls. Justice says Justin. Very close to your name, Justice. Justin. Sorry. Got myself confused. Now lining up this one, first kick of the match, and it's from 49 metres out. Leinster trying to steal yards on the kick. Ref not having it, says Lollipop. course, with the altitude, you get a little bit more. Scrum cap Marco van Staden would have never done that. Please correct your score. Unfortunately, it's an online scoreboard, so I have no control over it, but I'm hoping once Leinster, if they get this 3, which they have not, hooked away to the left-hand side, and that is going to keep the score as 0-0. But yeah, it's an online scoreboard, so I have no ability to change it, sadly. If I could, though, you know, if I could, I'm going to try and time it. You ready? Like, there's nothing I can do. My hands are here, but if I... No, I was going to go like that, and then I was hoping it would just change back, but it's going to stay there for a little while until they realise that there was a no try. Yeah, currently 0-0. News Justin says Eric. Now it's going to be, charged down off the 22 dropout, and that is a knock-on from the Bulls. This is a massive chance for Leinster here. It's like the old school rugby 08 days, how you used to be able to spear tackle the guy. Which ain't an excuse in life. I like your online scoreboard. Says, cool story, bro. Right, I want you to stay up. Scrummaging is the call there from the referee. And told to stay up. That is the main message that they've been receiving throughout this game. Win predictor, holy. Win predictor is 86% in favour of Leinster. Now, I'm no mathematician, but it's still sitting 0-0. Back to magician school you go. Yeah, I think I need a bit more training, don't I? Best I can do at the moment is just, how do you do it? Hang on. My thumb fell off. That's about all I got, really. It's not that great, to be honest. But now, it's going off. James Gibson Park goes to James Lowe. Was that a deliberate knockdown? Yes, it was. From Sergio Peterson. Was this cynical? Was it worthy of a yellow card? I don't think it was. I think it was just a deliberate knockdown. But we're going to see the replay here. Was he in a position to catch that ball? Not really. Like, he got the hand out to it. Is this... this is going to be looked at a little bit more serious by the sounds of it. He's going to the bin. Sounds like that is what they're going to do. Ross Byrne is not the number 10 for me. Is it Crawley or is it maybe the youngster? Of course, Prendergast is there at the moment, and Heaven Samish is already 5-0. No, not quite. It's 0-0 because the scoreboard hasn't gone back to 0 yet. He was outstretched, unfortunately, there in his attempt of catching the ball. The way that the law book is, this is probably going to be a yellow card. Now, I believe that there was cover behind, so I don't think it will be anything more than just a yellow card. I don't see it as a penalty try, and if it was from 20 metres out, I'd be pretty disappointed given the cheese. Says Bill, so yeah, now going from the field, Bulls are not going to be happy with that one, but it gives Leinster the ideal attacking opportunity. Byrne missing that kick, so perhaps they go for the corner here, Leinster. And score, says Marcel, still 0-0. Scoreboard does not like me today, though, so it's going to stay as 5-0 by the looks of it. I'm hoping if Leinster score some form of points, it's going to update. But for now, the score in terms of the time is updating, but not so much the actual scoreboard. Now kicking for the corner there, Byrne deciding against going for the 3 points, and that may be because of the missing of the last one. Right now it's 5-5. This is really confusing. But now lining up this kick, Dan Sheehan getting ready to put this ball in for Leinster. And it was marginally not straight, but it's going to be available for Dan Sheehan. Loose ball picked up from James Lowe. They're 2 metres out at the moment here for this Leinster side. Gibson Park looking both ways. Goes across to Caelan Doris. They've chopped him down too. McCarthy with the pick and go. They're very close to being able to score here, Leinster, and they've got numbers on this left-hand side. Ross Byrne passes one more to James Lowe, and that man scores yet again for Leinster. And that yellow card, that is probably what could have happened if Sergio Peterson did not get their hand to it. But Crowley for Munster is Ireland's best 10 in my opinion. Prendergast will have to fight him for it. But at least we have 2 future 10s with Crowley and Prendergast. And how much scoreboard is wrong? I do know that, yes. It's not behaving. It doesn't want to take that try off the Bulls. Maybe Marco van Staden is in charge of the scoreboard, and he said, no, we'll just leave that up there for a bit longer. But the score, Leinster are the team in the lead at the moment. The yellow card has hurt them. And reboot your system. Well, it's still updating, so it's not the system that's the problem. It's unfortunately just their online scoreboard that is not quite doing the job at the moment. A predictor right, says Eric J. Thoughts on a Low hat-trick? I don't think it will happen. Saying that, though, with the fact that Sergio Peterson is no longer out on his wing, maybe that is the wing that they start to target a little bit more. Ross Byrne lining up this one. Can you remove scoreboard until updated? So people stop asking, says bystander. I could, but then also people would ask, where's the scoreboard? Is the only other thing if we remove the scoreboard, if that makes sense. Low or low, it's got the E on the end, but that kick has gone over from Byrne with the E on the end as well. So that is going to make the score... Oh, we almost fumbled that, James Lowe. Slams it down in the end. No worries there, but 7 points to 0 at the moment. I really want the scoreboard to behave itself, but of course for a semi-final it's not going to. We always know this, that in the big matches is when the scoreboard goes on strike. But now kicking this one off for the Bulls. Down into the Leinster 22. That sun is almost gone as well, I should mention. Jimmy O'Brien kicking towards the touchline and does get it out. Great kick again here from Leinster. They are on the halfway line and the Bulls currently are down by 7. They need to find a way back into this game. We're already 26 minutes in. The faulty scoreboard is the best thing about the Bulls so far, who has 7. So Leinster have got the 7 points to 0 lead. So they're up by 7, but the scoreboard just doesn't want to say that, unfortunately. Right, we're getting ready to see a line out here again. And that's going to be nicely claimed by the Bulls. Leave it, the Bulls will score now. Says Julian Moses. Villy LaRue going with the box kick across field. Nicely taken by Jimmy O'Brien. And just hanging on by a fingertip there was Harold Foster. And very important that he was able to hang on to that one. Ryan now going back to Jameson Gibson Park. Gets the high boot away. And that's going to be well claimed by Leinster again on the halfway line. Johan Grobela wanted the turnover, couldn't get it. Porter now looking for the offload. Hanekom putting pressure on and drives Doris down to the turf. He just brings physicality anytime he is out on the field. And that is the type of thing that you want to see from a player as well, being able to get out there and just throw the body on the line. Now Villy LaRue unable to take it cleanly for the Bulls. So Leinster back in possession, 40 metres out from their line. Jimmy O'Brien going for the 50-22 attempt, and he's kicked it out on the full. Forgot about the altitude. And Bulls will put it, says Yuri. Wind is ice cold and strong here in Cape Town. And luckily we're not playing here. Luckily they're not playing here. Ball will be blown all over. Yeah, I feel like that's one of those cases that maybe just didn't quite know the altitude's impact that it can have on the ball. The Bulls have actually taken this one quickly here. And Villy LaRue again will kick. Now nicely taken by Jimmy O'Brien. He's handled everything so well, or so far so good, at the back. Leinster have been told to use it. Jameson Gibson Park going off to the short side away to Josh Vandenflair. They're trying their best not to get isolated here because, of course, as soon as you get yourself isolated, that is when the turnover can come. And that is normally when we do see that ball go into the opposition's hands, but it's still there for Leinster now. 25 metres out. If you fill the ball up with helium, you can kick it miles. Says Krampus close to the touchline. Nicely taken by Villy LaRue. Gets the offload away to Ambrose Papia. Now Johan Goosen. Is he going to kick? No, he's going to run it this time. They're inside of their own half. At the moment, Papier goes back into the pocket to Villy LaRue. And he's looking for the 50-22, and he's got it this time, Villy LaRue. There are two things that are certain at the moment in this game. One, it's going to be fast-paced. And two, Villy LaRue is going to kick the ball 90% of the time that the ball goes to him. But every time that he gets that ball, the threat is there, and Leinster have to be aware of it because now they've made a lot of meters there, the Bulls. We are still sitting 7 points to 0, but maybe the Bulls can get those 5 points that are on the board at the moment for them. And run it lovely, Villy LaRue tries, says Ruth. Like they've just said, Leinster's maul defence throughout the season has been outstanding. Of course, that is one of the elements of the Springboks versus Ireland games that are going to be so entertaining to watch. Harold Foster there, dragged down 10 metres out from the line. Papier goes across to Ruan Nokia again. Papier, short ball goes up to Marco van Staren. He'd love to get that try that he did get cancelled out just a little bit earlier on. Great power shown by Stenkamp. They have been told hands off there by Leinster, and they've gone back on it there. Van den Flair told no as well. Now Johan Grobbelaar wrestled backwards till 5 metres out. Papier goes across to Wilco Low. It's close to offside for Leinster there as they're going through. Beautiful flat run. And Johan Goosen will score the first try of the match for the Bulls. And that now makes the score 5 points to 7. Scoreboard now correct, so that's a happy time. And Leinster hands the rucks and offside. The ref says Justin. And game on, I think that is from Birdie V, but that has certainly lit the Loftus crowd on fire. They are electric now. Third try for Johan Goosen. But yeah, Leinster were very close to being offside in one of these breakdowns, building up to the try. Is there a yellow? There is for Sergio Pedersen at the moment. For how long, says Rian. And there as well. Yeah, might even update. Well, it should update to 7-all in the very near future, hopefully. Yep, there we go. It's worked it out. Unless it's offside a whole bunch there, says Lollipop. And yeah, I think the one that was the most obvious was the man who was trying to stay right on the hindmost foot and then fell forward, 2 hands down, and then just continued to defend. But first kick of the match is going to be 14 metres out. Nice and easy for Johan Goosen here. Taking some deep breaths. Where's the ref from, says Robert Wood. Either Scotland or Wales. I'm not too sure which one. I think maybe Wales. But I could be wrong. That kick has gone over now. And that is going to make the score 7 points each for these two sides. I have broccoli and seeds. For tea, I assume that was. Update on Winviz. Well, at the start, or when they were 0-all, Leinster had an 86% chance of winning this game. With the Bulls scoring now, I believe they are actually... What's that? $1.85 for them to lose by 4 points here, the Bulls. I don't have the exact winning margins. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to actually have that as an option for us here, but the Bulls are still slight underdogs. He's from Scotland. Says Outlaw, so if the Bulls win and Munster win, they play the final at Munster Stadium. That is correct, yes. Ketchup is one of your 5 a day. I like that mindset. Now back into the pocket. Johan Goosen kicking downfield. Seems like the territory battle is actually now starting to go in favour of the Bulls here. As we sit 7-all after 32 minutes. Ball's gone high again. Jimmy O'Brien, great under the high ball. Honeycomb looking for the turnover. And it looked like it was good by Van den Flair. He went to take it straight back. Looked like it's going to be play on and a right scrap in the breakdown. Referee doesn't look like he's awarding too much at the moment. Brian said, Hamish, who does AI say will win? Well, AI, I haven't got it for who's going to win, but I have got it in terms of it can tell me the summary of the chat, which I didn't realise was a thing. In fact, it doesn't look like it's a thing for this live stream. Unfortunately, that's a great kick downfield from Willie LaRue. Gibson Park, I should say. Runs it up to his 22 and gets the kick into Dutch Willie LaRue. Oh, that's close to forward at the back. Johan Goosen now manages to break through one. Looking for the kick in behind. There is a Leinster player there. Birds don't come from seats. Says a James kicked high from Ross Byrne. Chasing after this. Lama doesn't get there. And Bruce Papier does. And now a little bit of a fumble there from Elric Lowe. But the ball is still available. Leinster wanted the turnover. They couldn't quite get it there. Villy playing a good game. Yeah, very kicking orientated at the moment for Willie LaRue, but it's been effective. That 50-22, I would say, is the main reason that they were able to score themselves a try. Here comes Willie LaRue with another cross kick attempted here. It's one of those ones, if you attempt 15 of them, eventually they're going to pay off. And that seems to be his mindset at the moment. And yeah, beautiful as always. Thanks for the AI shout out this morning, says Ruth. And pass the marge. Says up Fluffy there, just realised it said semi. It is semi-final, yes, rather than the final is next week. And we will also be covering that one also next week is South Africa versus Wales, ladies and gentlemen, which is a pretty massive one. So if you are new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It's going to be greatly appreciated. You all popping in for that live stream as well as Munster versus Glasgow. That's a little bit later on. Crowd size, not a sellout for this game, surprisingly. But, you know, I'd say about 70% full by the looks of the stands, somewhere around there. Going to have the legs in the last 20 minutes. That's where the benches are definitely going to come into it. Dan Sheehan trying to get the chip in behind. But it's claimed by Ruan Nokia. This game's being played at that fast of a pace at the moment. It's hard to say every single pass that is happening. But the Bulls now looking to pass it across to Wilco Low on the halfway line. Up here. Oh, that's a rough pass. That's a very rough pass. Hussein under pressure. Looks like he's going to be all right to kick this one off. His right boot, though, has been taken well by Leinster. At the back, broccoli flavoured water is overrated. I haven't really got an opinion on it. All 50-22 attempted, but it sits up for Peterson, who is now back out on the field after his yellow card. Papia, that's a good kick. That is a great kick. Has it gone out, though? No, it hasn't. Staying in the field of play. Bulls winning Glasgow win final at Bullring. It would indeed be, if that is how it plays out. I came back when I saw the score. Says Marcel. Now Villy LaRue looking for the 50-22 again, but it won't find touch. In fact, it's going to roll right into the in-goal area, and Leinster will force this one down. It's going to be the goal line dropout, which more than likely will lead to a drop kick attempt from the Bulls here. Bulls Roaring Irish going to rushing in. Sears Roof. Bulls forward sound good today. Cameron Honeycomb has been a real standout throughout this game. And like I said, I feel like a Springbok call-up is just around the corner for that man. The physicality that he brings and also the way that he wins the ball in the breakdown just puts him pretty high up in my overall list. It's going to be kicked downfield. Elric Lowe. Oh, he's trying to bump off Jordan Lama. Has to put the shoulder into the thigh. I have a bad feeling about this, says Yvonne. Is that like that Leinster aren't going to do as well as anticipated, or about certain players? And Bros Papia looking both ways, goes off to Wilco Low again. Wrestled down by Sheehan, who wants the turnover. He's been told to get out of there. Papia on back across. This is in the middle of the field as well. Haven't seen too many breakdown penalties. Hussein, that's a forward pass from Villy LaRue. Drifted forward. It's going to be play on for now. In this case, for the Bulls, they actually don't want to score yet. Because if they score now, they can rule that back for the forward pass. If they don't score now and they have 3 more phases, that cannot be checked. So that's exactly what I believe the Bulls need to do here. Villy LaRue, again, going for the cross kick. Oh, Lama's been taken out. Going to be knocked on. That's accidental offside, I believe. No, in fact, it's a knock-on from Lama. And 4 pass come on Villy, although it wasn't called, so play on in that case. And in all seriousness, South African team, the final is a win to me, says Goal Story. Crowder booing that one. Lama tried to slap it back, and then he's cleaned out by Elric Lowe, but they're saying he knocked it on before he was cleaned out. So that is why it's going to be the scrum feed. Villy, stop yelling at the ref. You've already got the ball, mate. Got to be very careful here, Villy LaRue, because it's not going to take long before the referee says, if he keeps talking to me like that, we're going to have a problem. I need something sweet now, Hamish, with honey and caramel, says Ruth there as well. Now, I should mention, like I said, Munster versus Glasgow. That is kicking off in 2 hours, 15 minutes time, and we will be covering that one on the channel as well. So if you are new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it is just around the corner. And I wonder if Baz watched Scotland versus Germany, says Fluffy. And there's a Lama, says James Evans. Almost a Lama. A Lama's fast. I've never seen a Lama run, but I'd assume that they'd have a little bit of pace. And that's going to be flattened out there in the front rows. Too much movement. So we're going to have another scrum reset. Hippos are surprisingly fast. That was something we learned a little while ago. If the Bulls win, I pray the Warriors also do, says Moken RSA every day. And yes, says Yvonne, for how quick a Lama can be. Hamish is a Scottish name, says Grumpus. It may be a Scottish name, but I don't actually think I've got much Scottish heritage. To be honest, I think it was more of the case of my parents were like, you know what? He looks like a Hamish. So we'll go with that. I've got a Lama called Shane. It's a good name for a Lama. I'm looking forward to the Bulls versus Munster final, says Robert Wood. Of course, there's still a bit to go before that. Bulls need to make sure they win this game before looking too far forward. Possession 60% in favour of the home side, 65% territory. But they are still sitting even in this contest. That is a good push from the Bulls this time. They've got the penalty advantage. And Bros Papia trying to burst on the short side. Now around the side of the breakdown, Eldrick Lowe with the pick and go. Have you ever met another Hamish? I have. Fun fact, what's your surname, Hamish? It is also Hamish. I am Hamish. Now off to the right hand side. Cameron Hanekom. On away now to the right hand side. Ruan Nokia getting closer. I think the scoreboard will open up in the second half in favour of the Bulls. They're going back for the original penalty in favour of the Bulls here. And this would give them a halftime lead if they do opt to go for the 3 points. We'll have another South African final. URC finals must only be in South Africa. Says RSA every day and HH. Says cool story, bro. And Hamish says fluffy and come on the Bulls. Says Devon. And there as well. Or is it Devon? Devon or Devon? Yeah, big scrum coming there from the Bulls. Hamish squared. Says bystand and take the 3. Yeah, I think finals rugby, you got to take any points that are available. And this is one of those times. Johan Hudson has been kicking at a relatively high rate throughout this season so far, so I don't think this game will be any different. Forget the Bulls, I want the Llamas. I was in school with 3 brothers called Richard, Thomas, and Harold. Tom, Dick, and Harry. Says, that is true, yeah. Now, lining up this kick for Johan Hudson. Needs this one to go over, and if he can get it, score going into halftime will be very close, but it will be just in favour of the home side, and that kick is good. Now I'm making the score 10 points to 7 going into the second half. Now at halftime, of course, we will be looking through at the benches available for this game. I should mention there have been no changes made as of yet. Did we consume much pizza during the Canes Chiefs game? Sorry, I missed it. Says Fluffy. Yeah, I'm quite sad. The AI is not working on this one. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure how to get it to work either, which is quite sad. Can I get... No. It doesn't look like it's going to do it for this live stream. Anyone who's confused, pretty much last live stream, the AI was telling us all about what was happening in the game, or in terms of the chat, so it would keep me updated in terms of what had happened. And man, miss winning over these ways. And it's a messy game. Yeah, it isn't the smoothest game we've ever seen, but it's an effective one at the moment for the Bulls. They've been able to edge out a little bit of a lead going into the second half. Bulls got done good and proper by Leinster last time round, but different story now. Says Tony McCarty. You guys sneaking beers at halftime? Myself, I am not. I've got me water down there, but be sure to get yourselves a beverage, ladies and gentlemen. Some snacks as well for the second half. And of course, there is another game just around the corner, that being Munster versus the Glasgow Warriors. So be sure to stick around there. We've seen 2 tries so far. Johan Hudson was the man who was able to score it for the Bulls. James Lowe able to score the try for Leinster. In terms of the possession, 62% in favour of the home side. 7 clean breaks to the 1 of Leinster. 13 defenders beaten for the Bulls compared to the 6 of Leinster. Leinster have had more offloads. That's one stat that's in their favour. Tackle success of only 80% for Leinster throughout that first half as well, compared to the 88% that we saw from the Vodacom Bulls. Rugby is here now. Says Crumpus in there as well. Namish relax. I'm here now. Said Rugby. Sold my soul for a Big Mac. Crazy decision. Biggest regret of my life. See you for the next half. Says cool story, bro. And end score 24-21 in favour of the Bulls. Let's go, says Sean J. And I repeat, I'm here now. And also we got the I hate the Bulls, says Ruben. And Bulls must lose. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the second half does go for them. Because throughout that first half, yes, it was scrappy, but the kicking at the moment, they have been very busy off that kicking boot of Vili LaRue. 2 turnovers, 1 for Cameron Hanekom. I should mention he has had a fantastic first half, also making the most tackles out of any Bulls player. Most tackles made throughout the whole match, though, does go to Irish number 7, Josh Van den Flair. Johan Hudson has had the most meters made. He has had 64. Cameron Hanekom has beaten the most defenders with 4. Ty Furlong actually beating 2 for the Leinster side. And then successful carries, 6 for Cameron Hanekom, 2 clean breaks for the man as well. He's having a man of the match performance. At the moment, Leinster Irish players are off form. Can't see them winning this, and Ireland will get smoked by the Box if the Irish players are playing like this. Says Rugby. And when will the Box play? So they are going to be playing next week. It is an early game, I believe, a 3 p.m. kickoff for you guys in South Africa on Saturday afternoon in South Africa, and that is going to be up against Wales. Now, that game is taking place at Twickenham. Ruben is another Jonathan Pollard spy, says Robert there. And also, I'm sure Ruben is a shark. The Bulls must be aware that it is a similar situation last time at halftime. They went to pot after halftime. So just stay grounded, Bulls, says Bokeski. Yeah, they can't afford to get too overconfident. Yes, 3 points is a handy lead, but it is nowhere near a lead that they are after in this contest. Now, I should mention if they make it through to the final, they will still not have Kutli Arinsa and they will still not have Kanan Moody as two players who are still out. But so far, I mean, Devin Williams has had a few good moments throughout this game. Sergio Peterson having that yellow card, a little bit costly, of course. Wouldn't have wanted it for the first 14 minutes of the game. Looking through at the benches in this contest, ladies and gentlemen, we get to see, first of all, for the Bulls, it is none other than the Bulls. For them, I said that very strangely, but Akafanda Merva, Matanzema and Klopper as the front row replacements, Ludwig and Nassim Kar as the back replacements. Now, I should mention no changes have been made for either side at this stage of the match. King and Johannes at number 21, Chris Smith, and also Cornell Smith there as number 23. For Leinster, Ronan Kelleher, Kian Healy, and Michael Alatoa are the front row replacements. Ross Maloney and Jack Conan, the other two forward replacements, both sides going with their 5-3 splits rather than the 6-2. Then Luke McGrath, Kieran Frawley, and Jamie Osborne there at number 23 for this game. And yeah, Moody is a little too moody to play, if you catch my drift, says Ruben. Also, he's got a finger injury, unfortunately. It wasn't Hamish Macbeth, a Shakespeare play, was it? And so Leinster may edge it. Off that alone, Bulls looked like they were getting tired, and I guess the South African teams leaving the Super Rugby wasn't such a loss when you take into account the kickoff times, similar longitude line for favourable game time. Exactly right. Like, at the end of the day, yes, it is a shame not to have them in Super Rugby, but they are thriving in the URC. The fact that they now have the opportunity to, I guess, play in decent time zones, get the opportunity to play new sides and have more trophies that they can get themselves. Like we've seen the Sharks win the Challenge Cup, Champions Cup, unfortunately for the South African sides. Didn't quite go the way that they would have liked, but at the end of the day, they're being extremely competitive. The Storm is winning the inaugural URC competition, actually up against the Bulls in that final. Hamish seeing you streaming the next semis. What's for breakfast, says Birdie V. I haven't actually planned it out yet, but I know that the last live stream will finish at around 7 a.m. New Zealand time. Springboks versus Wales, and they'll be playing in England. Who decides this bollocks? Well, it's a great question. And also, who decided that Fiji versus Barbarians would take place after that game at the same time as the URC final? That just, to me, seems like a game that could have happened at any other point and it would have been fine. But for some reason, they decided to have an overlap, which didn't really make too much sense to me. But, you know, that is unfortunately the reality of rugby. We've got so many games that need to fit into a window. And like, yeah, I just had a pound muffin. Looks like it's back to the fridge. And also we have got there now, New Zealand rugby is dying, says Grumpus, and Australian rugby is dying. What is a pound muffin? Marshall Aid. And Bryce happening here, brother, says Birdie V. It sounds like I need to be in South Africa for this evening. Definitely if the Bulls get themselves a victory, I would assume that there's going to be a lot of partying going on around Loftus. And fair enough too, at the end of the day, if there is going to be a South African side in the final, and it is the Bulls who managed to get there, it's going to be a pretty entertaining final. Go the Bulls, says Cornel Erasmus, Yossi, Satutu, and Lakai to start for the All Blacks, says Manny M. Oh, so you're actually going to play Yossi slightly out of position in that case, Manny M. Because I know that he plays a bit of 6, don't get me wrong, but also at the same time, he much prefers that number 8 jersey. Who is the Pacific champs? Says Marcel, the Pacific champs. As in the Pacific Nations Cup. I don't know if that's the one you mean, but if you do, I believe it's Fiji, if I'm correct. I think that they had a win over Japan in the last game of the Pacific Nations Cup last year, who managed to get themselves the victory. I could be wrong there, though. I know Samoa had a close game with Japan in the opening contest of that comp. Japan having a lot of home games throughout it. If the Bulls win, we are going crazy, says Birdie V. And Blues have been playing some good rugby, says Birdie V. That is true. I mean, we could see two sides wearing blue in the final, being the Blues and, of course, the Bulls. Glasgow versus Bulls in the final and Warriors to win, says Tony McHardy, I should say. And the Super Rugby Pacific champs. Okay, so the final is going to be between the Blues and the Chiefs. That is taking place next week on the day of the URC final, as well as that day of South Africa playing Wales. So that should be entertaining. Now, I believe because the Blues are the home side, they actually get to decide when that game is taking place. And I would assume that they would confirm 7:05 on Saturday night. Yes, it is, between the Blues and the Chiefs, and that is taking place at Eden Park. Nope, says Tony. And Munster will win this one, says Ruben. And nope, even, says Tony there. Yeah, for sure, brother. Says a Birdie V. But yeah, we will be covering the Super Rugby final next week. We will be covering the URC final. We will be covering the South Africans taking on Wales, which, of course, is going to be an epic game. Australia Rugby need to sort their stuff out, seeing that they are hosting the next World Cup, and the next British and Irish Lions tour as well is going to be taking place in Australia. But I don't think we're too far away from these two sides making their way back out onto the field, being ready to go for this second half. Chiefs were playing their hearts out, says Birdie V. Yeah, they handled the Hurricanes very well, and also Hurricanes with those 17 handling errors, they were just never going to win it. I was watching Sky New Zealand and Jeff Wilson. Back five is Mackenzie, Lomax, Love, Barrett, Lakai. Would you agree, Hamish? They're back five. Back five. So, wait. The five that they're backing to make the All Blacks, or... Because Lomax, of course, is a front rower. Lakai's a loose forward. Damn, is the Super Rugby still relevant? It's actually, it's getting some good viewing numbers. I believe they've got a record season in terms of the last few leagues that they've had, or at least the largest season in a long time for Super Rugby viewing numbers. So I guess that's one bonus for them. And how much what a legend says, BDV. And Munster were lucky to beat Edinburgh in their URC game. A bad decision by the ref handed it to them. What's the record tries in Super Rugby Pacific? I'm not sure about the backs, but I know that Hoskins Tutu has matched the record with 12 tries for a forward throughout only, I think he's played 13 games, or maybe 15 throughout the season he might be up to now, but yeah, he's currently on 12. I'm not sure about the back record, though, for scoring tries. Yes, they're back in Hamish to make the All Blacks. There's Manny M. And we are going to do an All Black squad video early next week, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. The Bulls making their way back out onto the field now, getting ready for the second half. The crowd are fired up. They are ready for this matchup. Bulls will only win if Leinster decide to lose, says Chris Detoy. And Damien McKenzie, for me, is a top player. I hope he makes the AB's team. He certainly should. If he doesn't, it would only be due to an injury if he picks up an injury in that final. Didn't Marks bag 12 one season, says Fluffy. I believe he's tied for the record alongside Malcolm Marks, Cody Taylor. There's two other hookers as well, but he's the only player on that 12 tries that isn't a hooker. But yeah, he's tied for that record at the moment. He's still got a game to go, though, so there's a chance that he could set that new record. Chris, don't be negative, please, says Marcel. We are waiting at the moment for Leinster to make their way out of the changing sheds. 3 points difference between these two sides. It's looking like a relatively unchanged Leinster starting lineup for the second half. Aussies are scared of sport now, too dangerous like the sun. So yeah, the Crumpets AB selection is going to be very interesting. It is, because they've lost so many players over the last couple of weeks due to injury. Thoughts on the Hurricanes bowing out in the semis? They were their own worst enemy. I honestly, I know that this is a bold statement, and the fact that they've been knocked out takes away from that, but if they had played better in this game up against Chiefs, I think they had a really good chance of winning Super Rugby. Their handling, though, in that last game was absolutely awful, and it cost them the game big time, though. So, they were their own worst enemies, and at the end, they were their own demise. But, yeah, doing extremely well for the rest of the season. How about Numia, Amor, and Lomax? Well, Numia is currently injured, so we have to wait and see whether or not he's going to be all right. Now, Ambrose Papia taking it inside of the 22, Villy LaRue. Kicks it downfield, doesn't find touch. That's happened quite a bit throughout this game. Both kickers at times arguably not even going for the touchline, but just trying to play that territory game. Jimmy O'Brien kicks it up the middle, hoping for an awkward bounce, but it sits up perfectly for Johan Goosen. Now away to Villy LaRue. He's had a good kicking day. Gets distance on that one. Awkward bouncing ball for Ross Byrne, who just continues to get forced further and further back into his own 22. He puts it into touch. And that is going to be now 42 metres out, the line out for the Bulls. You should see how the sun behaves after a case of EB. I am a Stormer, but like the Bulls to win, says Carlos. And also we got there, Hamish is still rocking the house. Hopefully not too loud, as everyone else is currently asleep, seeing as it's 3 a.m. here in New Zealand. The Bulls to score soon, says Ruth. Ma'aka van der Merwe throws it in, so they decided to make that early change at the start of the second half. Short ball from Johan Goosen. In fact, no, this time it was David Kriel. Stenkamp goes off now to Ambrose Papier. On the outside, Devon Williams finds the hands of Herr Forster. Pace from Sergio Peterson. And they've scored early there, the Bulls, in the second half. Exactly the start to the half that they were after. Leinster getting beaten when it comes to that territory game. On the braai, Hamish, I got some sirloin steak, chicken kebabs, and some boerewors with potato salad and garlic rolls. Tell you what, those garlic rolls, every time you mention them, I just want one even more. I'm going to, and I want the Bulls to clinch this one, says Tony McCarty. The Bulls managing to get themselves the early try here. Good chase of the ball by Sergio Peterson. And we're just making sure he was onside, and he certainly was. My message helped go the Bulls. Says Carlos, I like Justin Marshall's selection of Clark, Love and Reese. Says Manny M. Big celebrations in the stands at the moment. Absolutely loving it. With streaming at difficult hours, you should soundproof the office somewhat. Says by standard. The good news is I'm at one end of the house and everyone else, when they're sleeping's at the other. But yeah, we've looked at a few options, of course. But yeah. At this stage, we're just with the green screen is pretty much our only soundproofing, which doesn't do a lot. What's your All Blacks first team, Hamish? Well, we're going to be doing a video on it in the near future. We won't list it now because I know that people would get annoyed with not talking about this game. But Bulls versus Leinster, we've just seen another 2 points scored off the conversion, and that will make the score now 17 points to 7 in favour of the Bulls. But it was great quick hands going out wide. Jake White knows the coaching game big time. Soundproofing deafens the screams. That's deep. But now nicely taken by David Kriel. On his own 22, Leinster looking for the turnover, but the penalty goes the way of the Bulls. That is for not rolling away against Josh Van den Flair. Jake White rubs some DP into the Bulls' butts to get them running, says Sean J. Yeah, not the start to the second half at all that Leinster would have been after. There is currently a 10-point difference between these two sides. I found it incredible that they came in as underdogs for this game, the Bulls, because of the altitude. Later on in the game, this has been a great Super Rugby season, in my opinion, says Bill and Solid Hamish. Going to check that out when you drop it, says Mr. All-In. I should also mention, ladies and gentlemen, we have also got a video coming out either tomorrow or the next day based off what we think the Springboks will select for their upcoming game up against the Wales side. We are the Kiwi Lads community. Newcomers must adapt to this chat thread, says Bystander. What's your prediction for this game? At the moment, 10 points in front. It's going to be very hard to lose for the Bulls. There's a knock on there from Aka van der Merwe, though. And now it's going to be the scrum feed for Leinster. Just inside of their own half. Go the Bulls, go. I love South Africa, says Carlos. But still, 35 minutes on the clock. Big shot coming in from Dan Sheehan, who put him backwards from the get-go. Crowd at the moment, though, they are excited for this matchup. Saying maybe it was a little bit high. We're going to have to see a lot more tries being scored for Leinster. I've only got the one so far for James Lowe. Mentally strong, says Tony. Leinster never give up, and I Hamish, great semi-final so far. Come on the Bulls, makes South Africa proud, says Amanus. Hamish is Justin Marshall nuts. He keeps going on about the All Blacks must win every test match, says Manny M. Although he is not the only one. You have also quoted him 15 times, Manny, but Like, I feel like you need one loss somewhere along the lines. Like, for world rankings, maybe you need to win every single one, but you also need to taste that defeat so that you know what you could do better. To a certain extent, the All Blacks are the only team to use stealth technology. Says Cool Story Bro, I'm born a bull, will die a bull, my blood is blue. Says Rudolph. And there as well. I just saw on Twitter, they say Leinster looks fatigued. I would say they're looking fatigued to a certain extent. I would also say, though, that this Bulls side are looking like they're sucking in some big ones, although that's not a common saying outside of New Zealand, I don't think. Taking some deep breaths for the second half as well, and it's just because of the pace that these two sides have played at. No one has opted to go slowly. That is a stolen scrum there for the Bulls. Sensational work. Cameron Honeycomb, the pace of the big man. That ball's going to stay in the field of play, and I think that's come off Jameson Gibson Park, but it will be the penalty going the way of the Bulls. Going the way of Leinster for playing the man off the ball. Bulls cannot afford to go to sleep again in the last 30 minutes. And altitude 1,340 metres, it matters. Says Cornet. And lamb chops on the braai is way better than steak. I'm going into hiding next, says Rian. And Hamish, the Black Cats are out of the T20 World Cup. That is correct, yes. And Hamish, are the Wallabies going to go under Joe Schmidt? Well, they can't get any worse than Eddie Jones, that is for sure, having their worst ever finish in World Cup history and also having a coach locked in for 5 years that left after one. Yeah, playing the man without the ball there from Ambrose Papia, getting himself in a bit of trouble. Now Leinster have got it available. Here comes Josh Vandenflair. Honeycomb's been sensational though in this contest, making meters every time. Hey, that reminds me of my broccoli is boiled. Do enjoy some boiled broccoli myself, to be honest. It's quite nice. Do enjoy it in a stir fry as well. See, Carter Gordon has joined rugby league. He has, nice skills from Sergio Peterson to almost keep that ball in the field of play. Just goes into touch in the end. Jones got done dirty. He didn't, did he? He was not really committed to that Wallaby side at all. And you could see it in the way that they were playing. I believe the Bulls run a rugby tunnel before running out, read something like altitude. 1360, it matters. Intimidating for the opposition. Says bystander. I love the stream, says Devon. Thank you very much, mate. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Nicely taken by James Ryan on the halfway line here for Leinster. Henshaw with short ball away to Caelan Doris. The Bulls just done a lot right throughout the early stages of this game to shut down this Leinster backline, although now the space is opened up. Here comes the pace of Jimmy O'Brien. Ball on the outside to Jordan Lama. His ankle went bang. Did he just blow a ankle? Was he all right? It looked like he slipped a little bit. That ball is right near the touchline. It's going to be forced out, and it's the penalty to Leinster, 5 metres out from the try line. That looks like Max Deegan on the sideline there. Is it a high mistake game, Hamish? It hasn't been too bad. And at the side from Billy LaRue, that's quite cynical if this is... We're going to see, was Lowe's foot in the touchline? No, it wasn't. That is great work from Lowe to keep it alive. And then we're going to see Billy LaRue here. Where's the side entry? And how cynical is it? Okay, I don't think it was Billy LaRue who was penalised, but they're only 5 metres out from the line now. Leinster looking for their opportunity at a rolling maul. Nicely claimed by Ryan. Gibson Park goes across in behind Henshaw. Goes to Doris. That's a man taken off the ball by Sergio Peterson, who already has a yellow card. Has to be very careful. Once you go broccoli, can't go back. You know the saying. I didn't know it was with broccoli, but I would agree, I guess. It's time for Leo to go, says Bill there. Now around the side, Joe McCarthy. 5 metres out. Furlong. There's an advantage now for Leinster for the Bulls being offside. Gibson Park selling both ways. Goes out wide to James Lowe, who's dropped it. And they'll go back for the penalty again. Very tight game, says Devon. With all the injuries the All Blacks are having, there's a good chance England win the series 2-0. Says Manny M. And also we consider Scott Barrett as a good captain for the All Blacks. Jones was promised and they tricked him. If you're a Bull, do you watch your man or the ball? I guess it's a question, isn't it? I think they do a bit of both there. The Bulls, they just love smashing into opposition. Have a tube of Pringles. We've actually eaten a tube of Pringles on a live stream before. It was a really late night game about 4 years ago. And it was a lot of fun. I think it seemed like I was high because they had a massive bag of lollies. That's going to be now the try going the way of Leinster this time. Is it Porter who's got over the line, or is it Josh Van den Flair? No, it's going to be Caelan Doris. Oh, okay. I thought they were looking upstairs for something there, the way that they were talking. Caelan Doris scoring the try there. This will get them back into the contest. I hate broccoli. I'm a pure meat eater. And if anyone mentions broccoli on pizza, I'll kneecap you. Conversion is good, though. Will Leinster crash out again in the quarterfinals? Well, this is the semis, so no, but they could go out in the semis. There's a possibility if they don't get themselves a lead. Just don't eat raw broccoli, guys. You will damage your throat lining when you chunder. Is that right? I thought you could eat broccoli raw. Like, I don't, but I've heard of people doing it. Leinster bench has 1,088 club appearances between them. And it looks like now those subs are being made. Tyke Furlong is off. Frawley is on. Alalatoa is on. There's still 29 minutes left in this contest, and you have to wonder whether or not now we are starting to see that fatigue setting in for this Leinster side, which maybe is why they've decided to opt for the bench so early in this match. But nice attack and run from Caelan Doris. Doris scores, then soon Conan replaces him. Says Eric, well, it is a possibility, although they do just have the one sub, so we could actually see maybe Conan come onto the field for Ryan Beard. Might be the change that they make. The Bulls in position 40 metres out. Oh, looks like an injury here for Devon Williams. He's trying to get himself back up. Leinster have been told to leave it. And that is going to be the penalty advantage in favour of the Bulls. Johan Goosen with the forward pass. Our wide to Sergio Pedersen, well handled by David Creel. And the forward pass. Oh, they're not going back for the penalty advantage. Villy LaRue yelling in the face of the referee again. The Bulls are not happy. They're asking why is that not going back for the penalty advantage. Referee says the advantage was over. Okay, the referee said there was no advantage in the breakdown. So they're saying, what are they saying here? It's an advantage to the Bulls, who then go 20 metres and then they say advantage over. Okay, referee says it wasn't actually a penalty advantage. He said that it was an accident, that he didn't mean to give it, and now that it's going to be the scrum for Leinster. This referee's not making any friends, I can tell you that right now. Come on, Bulls, give us other provincial supporters, South Africa hope. Fatigue maybe, but now believe in their plan. And also was Geordie Barrett crying again in the semi-final like he did in the World Cup final. I didn't see him after the game, unfortunately. But now, handling error 6 so far from the Bulls compared to the 2 of Leinster. The crowd are not happy. The Bulls are not happy. Villy LaRue, he's about as close as we have seen to pretty much facing off with a referee in the semi-final. Big push from Leinster. And they will have another scrum reset. John Kerwin and Mills Muliaina both have lost the plot. They have no idea what the first All Blacks team should be. Says Manny M. And what is this, ref? I want Leinster to win, but call it right. Says Bill. No, ref, says Eric. And I've never seen this ref before, lol. Says Mr. Olin. And Leinster players eat raw broccoli, breaks their ankles, says Sean J. And Geordie played 2 positions in the World Cup, centre and flank. Great player, period. Says Charisse. Possession at the moment still only 42% in favour of the away side Leinster, whereas Curtly Ardenser got head knock last week. So he unfortunately is out for this game. He's also out for the first Irish match by the sounds of it. And that's going to now be the free kick going the way of Leinster. Jameson Gibson Park takes it quickly, goes off to James Lowe. Thought about offloading, but decides against it in the end. Game is now on, Eric, and I'm watching a delayed game. It's very close between these two sides. Only 3 points difference between them. Nicely taken by Villy LaRue. Another forward pass from him. That's about his 3rd of the match. He's starting to get a little bit scrappy there, Villy LaRue, and I can understand now why he's trying to kick the ball every 5 seconds. And we'll have the option of either going for the line out or the scrum set. A useless ref could destroy a big game like this. It's sad. Says Barry can come on the ball. Says Nkabe there. I should mention there is, of course, another big game just around the corner. 1 hour, 45 minutes. We are going to be seeing the match between Munster and Glasgow. The winner of this game will face them in the final game on. Hit Hamish in the like button. I said it before and I'll say it again. Beauden Barrett should not play for the All Blacks again. He's way past his best. Says Manny. Feels sad for the referee. It's clear he can't cope with this occasion. Some horrendous decisions. And I never like to see them as a factor in deciding games. Says Connor. And yeah, like, I'll be honest. I have not seen much of this ref before. Akafa Namerva kicking it in behind. This is going to be a great chance for the Bulls to chase after this one. Burner shut down early, but he stalls for just, that's playing the man off the side of the breakdown from Johan Goosen, and Leinster still just managed to keep the ball. Are Leinster playing okay? They've been... That's about the face that I've made, to be honest. Like, I honestly do think that they've had some good moments, but at the same time, they're losing the kicking battle badly. At the moment, they also haven't had a lot of possession. Villy LaRue decides to take it quickly. Devin Williams passes it back across to Villy LaRue, who goes back to Williams. Two-man show at the moment. Oh, that's a big clean out on Jameson Gibson Park going to the short side. Creel keeps the ball alive. Ambrose Papier knocks it on, and it's taken back now. And it's going to be kicked downfield from Ronan Kelleher, who thumps it into touch. A referee always interfere. Bad calls, amateur ref, says Spider Mech. Time to take Villy off, says Sean J. Right, referee calling both captains over, I believe. I think he's getting sick of the players yelling at him. Okay. So the referee has just called over both captains, saying that the stuff off the ball is starting to get quite bad between these two sides and that they want to see a little bit more of clean play. They've been told to get it under control. James Ryan went to talk to the referee straight away afterwards. They're just showing the replay here on Villy LaRue. It's a little bit late. Oh, and then he gets the crunch. Unfortunately, the shot that comes in afterwards, it ends up with Villy LaRue getting his neck crunched onto Mako van Staden's knee. The All Blacks need another Jerry Collins. Says Manny M. These guys really jamming the sound. Says Mr. All-In. And if you want to concentrate on the real book, more good eat broccoli. Playing badly and being 3 behind is a good sign, says Fluffy. Yeah, looks like Villy LaRue still feeling that knock. I think that if his head hit Mako van Staden's knee, that's an HIA. And I know that they don't want to take him off. And this ref is missing so much. Ref needs to be substituted, says Undeli. But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen this referee, I don't think, ever. Which is, I mean, it's concerning to a certain extent. I'm trying to find if I can find who it actually is. Sam Grove. Oh no, I've heard his name, but I haven't seen much of him. Right, HIA is going to be the call now. Villy LaRue will be possibly taken off the field. Maybe Villy will keep his mouth shut now, says Charisse. So friendly fire, yeah. So it was a slightly late shot by Leinster. And then from there, Villy LaRue's head knocked into Mako van Staden's knee. So it does look like they've now got Cornell Smith has made his way onto the field just to replace Villy LaRue for now. Please, South African Irish, get along like URC brothers, says Cool Story Bro. But yeah, there seems to be bad blood between these two sides at the moment out there on the field. Does the knee get an HIA? Not normally. Oh, nice bit of work there from Ruan Nokia, but there is the knock-on. There was a steal and then a knock-on. Sounds like the crowd is starting to get into this referee a little bit. He will want to leave the country as soon as he physically can at the end of this game. Jake White not happy. Ireland started with that On The Ball podcast. Says Undeli. And leaves LaRue. He's a good player, says Barry. Well, he had to go off for the HIA, unfortunately, in this case. Is it a dry pitch? It looks relatively dry, although heading into the evening kind of game. It's 5:20 local time at the moment, so beginning a bit slippery out there on the field. We've seen, I believe, 9 handling errors or maybe 10 handling errors between the two sides in this match. About 7 or so going against the Bulls. Is this ref is delusional? Why is he giving so many penalties against the Bulls for nothing? Says smoking RSA every day. I'll be honest, like the Super Rugby game wasn't that different either. Like there were a lot of penalties that we had in that game that I was just scratching my head at going, what is that actually for? But now, good tackle made on Robbie Henshaw. They're still down by 3 though. It's one bonus at the moment that they have got for the home side, the Bulls. The cross kick, slapped on by Cornell Smith. Sits up for Ross Byrne. There is another advantage in favour of Leinster. Little chip behind from James Lowe. Beautiful skills from the Irish winger. Pops it off to Ronan Killar, but he will be shut down early. That was a sneaky little chip from James Lowe. Only maybe kicking it about 10 metres, if not less. Another advantage going against the Bulls here. Offload from Alala and they'll go back for the penalties. Please run through the replacements so far. Hamish says Eric. So far in this game, we have seen the replacement for the Bulls of Akafanamerva. We have seen also Cornell Smith. I believe those are the only 2 changes that the Bulls have made at this stage of the contest. For Leinster, they have made the changes of Kelleher and Michael Alala. They have also brought on Frawley. I believe those are their only changes. So both sides trying to leave it as late as they can for the potential of having a bit more left in the tank for the closing moments of the contest. But Leinster, after winning this penalty, have opted to go for the 3 points here. Could be a good choice. Definitely because it would put them back to 17-17 with still 21 minutes to go. And where can we see the game? Super Sport, I believe, is your best option in South Africa. Unknown ref, Hemi, tells you something. Says Spider Mick. And also we have their ref will even this up, says Tony. As well as 17-17. Empathetic, says Justin. And also always happens, Justin, says Tony McCarty. I prefer Sheehan to be the finisher instead of Kelleher. Says Bill, but that kick has gone over. Now making the score 17 points to 17 between these two sides. Same will happen between Glasgow and Munster. Who in favour, Tony, out of curiosity? Which channel, please? Hopefully someone from South Africa will be able to help you out. What channel is it on DSTV, ladies and gents? And come on the ball, says Carlo. Looks like Nassim Khan, Matanzima and Klupa are about to make their way onto the field. Like they've just said, it's not so much about the subs that have been made, but it's about the ones that haven't been as of yet. I don't want South Africa in a 3rd final in a row. That's a conspiracy, I reckon. Says Goal Story Bro, nicely taken by Beard inside of his 22. Springboks have depth. I've been playing competitively lately up north and Warriors to win it for me, says Tony. Also, you're going with both, one underdog, one favourite. Part of my ignorance. How many subs allowed? I need to give subs ample time to adjust on the pitch and perform. Don't leave it too late, Bulls, says Bystander. So they have each got the 7 subs, I believe. No, sorry, the 8 subs, I should say. 5-3 split for both teams. Channel 211, says Leonard there. No conspiracy, just incompetence, says Justin. And Nassim Khan now onto the field. Klopper as well as Martinzima. Bulls vs Warriors in the final, please, says Tony McCarty. And of course, if that was the case, it would be a home game for the Bulls. And said final, Jack Conan also onto the field now for Leinster. Where is this ref Grove from? I believe Wales, I think. I'll just have a quick Google. Referee, he's Scottish. Right, they've called it as a sack. And this one's going to be against Joe McCarthy. So that is going to be the penalty now after the Bulls. Hamish, the best commentator from Auntie G in South Africa, says Gale. 11 C's. Incompetence happens now and again. Not every match, says Krampus. No way, says Tony McCarty. Yeah, so Joe McCarthy dragged it down, but then he wasn't able to get out of that breakdown, so he ends up getting penalised for not rolling away. And Johan Hussen add another 3 points onto the board. Now, this one's probably one of his easier kicks of the day, of course, with the exception of his own converted try that he was able to get. Welcome, you're in good hands here, says Bystander. Celtic bias, says Tony. And also, South Africa team should come back down under. Down under very fair. North took side. And he's got it over again. Johan Hussen giving the lead back to the South Africans. 20 points to 17. At the moment, it's the best inside centre for the All Blacks. At the moment, I mean, Quintal Pye's been looking very impressive. But starting out, says Underly. I think Yeah, he is the one who they put Nassim Carr onto the field for. I believe Lowe and Honeycomb are still out there at the moment. Now nicely claimed by David Creel. Onto the ball though for Leinster. Doris looked for the turnover, couldn't quite get it. I don't agree with the ref in this game. Most decisions, but at least it's a good game. However, the braai with the lads and watching Amish's commentary, or enjoying the braai with the lads. Hopefully you have got plenty of food for them. Looks like a close repeat of the 2022 semi-final. That's going to be charged down for Johan Huissen. Going to be available now for Leinster. And Leinster are the only team allowed to slow the ball down, says Justin. Yeah, 3 points difference between these two sides. All locked over the ball. Eldrick Lowe, he's been told to get his hands off. He had to roll first, says the referee. It's weird, isn't it? Some things he's been very lenient in the breakdowns, and other times he's just been whistle heavy. No obstruction play on is the call there. Peter Lakai must start for New Zealand. Now back across. McGrath, another player that they've decided to take off. That is for Jameson. Gives him Park. Honeycomb wanted the turnover. Couldn't get it. Now Alalatai back across. Byrne goes to James Lowe. Finds his offload away to Jordan Lama, who has crumbled on the 22 now in the tackle attempt of Honeycomb. Caelan Doris. They're up to 7 phases in a row here for Leinster. This is close to the most that they have actually had throughout this contest. Now around the side, short ball. Doris keeping it alive. McGrath in behind to Byrne. Henshaw finds Lama. There's a lot of this game that they have spent on the same side of the field. Him and James Lowe. Looks like James Lowe's got some sort of leg injury here, though. That is the last thing that, of course, the Irish will want to have. Going to try and continue in this game. Looks like they're going back off to the other wing. Gary Ringrose, Achafana Merva. He's got the clean. Oh, no, he hasn't. The ref said no. Oh. He's off his feet, then he's playing at it. When was he off his feet? I will see the replay. We'll find out if he was. The Springboks are blending in young talent, and the ABs must do the same, says Manny. In the Bulls are here to play, I tell you all, says Gary. Saw a naked lady once, says James Evan. You lucky fellow. Okay, they were trying to see whether or not there was obstruction, but Achafana Merva leaving his feet. Okay, he's probably a little bit unlucky there, Achafana Merva, but at the same time I can see how that would be a penalty against him. But it all happened so fast. Now lining up this kick, Leinster to bring it back to 2020. It seems like we're going to golden point time at this point, ladies and gentlemen, or at least extra time. And tell you what, 20 minutes of extra time at altitude, that's going to cause some injury. So I do hope someone gets the win. There's definitely obstruction, I agree. I think that there was obstruction from Conan there. That one's gone over. 20 points each in this game, and that's 15 minutes remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, in this contest now, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back for the next game that is taking place between Glasgow and Munster. That is kicking off in an hour and a half's time, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. We have got there, it's 4:29 here, says Tony. And looks like a close game like the 2022 semi where the Bulls won by 1 point. Now, that's going to be knocked on by Leinster. And it means now that the Bulls is going to be nicely handled by Ambrose Papier. Come on, sight these naked ladies. And drop kick by Huissen for the win after the buzzer. Nice run from Matanzima. They don't really want to score in the corner here for the Bulls, although saying that the kicking from Johan Huissen has been immense throughout this matchup so far. Achafana Merva going to be playing halfback. Goes off to Elric Lowe. Wrestled down by Michael Alalato. Go the Bulls, go, says Mokinari, say every day. Now back across. Good tackle made on David Creel. Do you have South African friends in New Zealand? How do you learn to pronounce Afrikaans and Zulu names, etc.? It takes a lot of practice, to be honest, because some of the names, of course, at the start when we begin saying them, all drop kick here for the Bulls, charged down, and they couldn't quite find the deflection of that ball in their favour, because if that had deflected cleanly, that could have been a try down the other end of the field. Just watch your Box Wales Squad video. The Box are looking strong. I'm expecting a 40-point difference, really, says Gary, and we will have a prediction of the lineup coming out probably tomorrow on the channel as well, so be sure keep an eye out for that one, where we will discuss who we think will be the 23-man squad for the match. And Wallabies versus, or are a toast. They better call back Campisi. Now, beautifully claimed by Sergio Pedersen. Scores the try, celebrates it big time as well, and that one has kind of come out of nowhere. It didn't seem like there was a clean chance for the Bulls to score it, but a favourable bobble of the ball leads to Sergio Pedersen scoring the try. World champion South Africa will be without several injured players for their opening test with Ireland on the 6th of July, says Manny M. And he's got a big smile on his face at the moment. The box kick was good from Bruce Papier and well claimed from Sergio Pedersen, who slams down with that try. Great. And I blinked and scored 2020. Oh, wait. And need a bit of luck, says Tony McCarty. And yeah, massive celebration there for Sergio Pedersen as he slams down on the ball. And great ball, says Goal Story Bro. And a great says Outlaw, but now the kick for Johan Huijsen. It is near the touchline, but he has had a fantastic day off the kicking tee so far. He's 4 from 4, this one 38 metres out. And this is the type of one that he has to make sure goes over. Will you do the Lotus Shell game later? Sadly, they aren't showing those games here in New Zealand. I would have loved to be able to do the quarterfinal. But yeah, they aren't actually being shown here. Johan Huijsen, he started that one too far out to the right-hand side. And that will keep the score at 25 points to 20. I think the Bulls have belief now, says Eric. And then this will rattle the ref, says Barry. But yeah, great take in the end from Sergio Pedersen. Wins the aerial battle against Crawley. Well, sorry, it was actually Frawley in that case. And scored 25-20, says Marcel. And there are still 12 minutes remaining in this matchup, ladies and gents. It's going to be kicked off high now. And well taken by David Creel. That missed kick might be the difference in this game, says Mokanaro. Say every day and tired leg time, says Orion. Kick downfield. Passing back across for Frawley. Who has gone with the high kick. Running through after this one, using some good pace, and it's going to be no knock on, so it's going to be play on now. Caelan Doris claiming it on the halfway line. Luke McGrath goes off now to Ronan Killar. Maloney, he is on the field for James Ryan. Now off to the right-hand side, Henshaw. Lowe looks like he's wounded, but he's going to keep on playing in this contest. McGrath again, going off to Byrne. Deegan. Oh, in fact, no, it wasn't even Deegan in that case. It was the man who I just mentioned, who I've already forgotten. I think diving in off his feet there was Nassim Carr. I don't know if that was a clean turnover for the Bulls, but Johan Huijsen, he's going to make the most of it. Ball bouncing through. Lowe makes up the ground with some great acceleration shown. He's running it sideways. Counter-attack now here. Jamie Osborne couldn't get his offload away. It's there for Leinster. 40 metres out from the line. Bulls need 3 to 5 points to seal off this match. Exactly right. But if Leinster score now, she's open season. Now offload from Henshaw. Going to Frawley. Thought about going wide, but instead we'll leave a McGrath. Going now off to Robbie Henshaw. One more pass to Jordan Lama. This one has just been kept alive all throughout the second half. All well timed by McGrath to keep that ball alive. Bulls rush defence working effectively in this game. 5 points difference with 10 minutes remaining. Conan thought about the offload, couldn't find it in the end. McGrath again going off to the left-hand side to Porter, who moves to about 40 metres out. Is Willie back in? I don't believe so. At the moment, Jamie Osborne, nice attacking run from him. McGrath, they're up to 8 phases now for Leinster. Doris, and off his feet was Nassim Carr, so wasn't able to go for that turnover. Akafana Merva, big shot coming in on Byrne. And Leinster always dangerous in the last 10. Here comes Caelan Doris. Almost went through a gap, but Nokia and putting in a real captain's effort at the moment. McCarthy finds the offload. Keeping it alive. Getting it away to Jamie Osborne. Leinster and at the side at every ruck. And Michael Alatoa. Now carries it forward. They're up to 13 phases now for Leinster. They've only maybe made 13 metres. Frawley now gets it away. David Creel over the ball, but he's lost his footing. This ref, he is harsh in those breakdowns, that is for sure. Now Byrne goes away to Jordan Lama. Trying to hold him up now. It's called as a tackle, so they do have to release him. Eat more garlic so you don't have bad dreams, says Spider Mick. I like how that's the one that I read out of all the messages that we've missed. The one about garlic to stop dreams. Is this going to become a nightmare for the Bulls? They have got 8 minutes left. James Lowe spinning out of one challenge. Dragged down in the next. No penalty advantage as of yet. They're up to 19 phases in a row at the moment for Leinster. Byrne with the ball away to Jamie Osborne. This is just relentless at the moment, but the Bulls, they will not concede easy. They have shown throughout the last 2.5 minutes of constant, that would have hurt the spine of Caelan Doris. Hands on the ground from the Bulls, but the counter ruck is good. And now Cameron Hanekom trying to get the turnover in the breakdown. Going Nokia away to Nassem Carr, who boots it downfield, and Leinster lose about 70 metres. Frawley is back there, and he will place this ball down for the goal line dropout. I throw garlic and broccoli in your general direction, says Flaviano. Miss Marcel Kutsia. Well, he's actually watching for this game. And Manny, we call him a check collector. And come on the Bulls, says Carlo. And there's one Bulls defending. Yes, please, says Birdie V. But you're doing sensationally. I'll be honest, that possibly could have been the penalty against the Bulls for their hands going down as they were counter-rucking. But I think that this game is a perfect example of anything goes in the breakdown, it would seem. Or at least it seems like you could get away with things that normally would get penalised. Also, you can not get away with things that don't normally get penalised in this game. But 73 minutes through this game at the moment. So we've still got another 7 minutes remaining. He's a tough guy, Andele. And also we've got that Hamish, my cousin says New Zealand is the best because of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. He still has fantasies of Gollum CGI effects. South Africans eat broccoli and biltong for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So we produce such powerful athletes, says Gary. But now getting ready to drop kick this one. Taking their time here. I think it might have been due to an injury. Eric's got the time written down somewhere, says Fluffy. But yeah, still another 7 minutes left. There is more than enough time for the Bulls to get themselves the winning points. Perhaps this goal line dropout. We are going to see Johan Hussen go for a drop kick at the post, and that would give them the lead by 8. Crowd being asked to use phones to light up field as the power went out, says I am nutty. And that one's going to be kicked high and well taken by the youngster. Who was that at number 19? I thought it was, Zoreniad Ludwig, who is in there, I believe. Now counter up coming from Leinster. Nothing doing at the moment. The box only eat pure beef. Says Manny M. Now Nassem Carr. Good shot on him. They're about 35 metres out from the line at the moment here. And Leinster cannot afford to give away a penalty advantage. Papier looking back into the pocket. Are they going for the drop kick? Not quite by the looks of it. They're going to hang on for a little bit longer before they decide to fire it back. Now Johan Hussein, that's taken out late there from Joe McCarthy. It's well taken as the mark. Leinster haven't won anything in 5 years. Says I am nutty. And the crowd asking for the late shot penalty. Doesn't look like they're going to get it. It's a massive boot downfield. Do the Bulls take it? Oh, they don't take it quickly. Good afternoon. Says a flash in there. Yeah, that's a foul from Joe McCarthy for a late shot. And that's his second time doing it today as well. So, extremely lucky. Although they've just said it's impossible to pull out of it when you're running through that quickly. The All Blacks eat plenty of lamb, a pre-match meal. Says Manny M. Yeah, I hope you are doing well, Fletcher. I hope you are excited for that next game taking place between Munster and Glasgow. Hamish, you are really very good at this, especially you mastering our surnames, says Stretch Fletcher. And yeah, hopefully, we go all right throughout the international window. Of course, we're going to have plenty of games happening. The ref underperformed, says Leonard. Now, Acha van der Merwe with the line-out throw. Claimed at the front from Reniard Ludwig. Late. Been in a wine tasting. Hopefully it did go relatively well. Hopefully you swirled it around and let it do whatever wine's supposed to do rather than just sculling it. Now, Hanekom. It's got to be man of the match for the Bulls. If they do win this game, counter-ruck coming from Caelan Doris, actually ripped out of there by his own team. How much lamb and beer can you eat, Hamish, in an hour? I haven't actually tried, so I'm not sure, to be honest. Love the Kiwi commentary. Says Nick, thank you very much, mate. Of course, when it comes to New Zealand sides, we are going to be covering Super Rugby just around the corner. New Zealand taking on England in that series. We are covering on the channel as well. Big shot coming in on Michael Alalatai. 4 minutes remaining now in this game, ladies and gentlemen. The ref is Scottish. We underperform constantly. Did you watch the football yesterday? That's going to be slapped back by Leinster. Pure lamb has more protein than beef, Gary. Says Manny M. Now Frawley sells the dummy. Just doesn't look like it's going to open up here for Leinster. McGrath in behind. The Bulls have hardly missed a tackle throughout this game, and I don't think they're going to start now. Osborne gets taken down. I like you, says Carlo. And very nice, a local vineyard and cider orchard. Leinster in the Bulls half, they are not. No, they are inside of their own half at the moment. Now nice attack and run forward from Caelan Doris after the halfway line. McGrath, can they get themselves the try? Inside ball, Osborne couldn't find the offload. McGrath again, going back across to the right-hand side. The Bulls are rushing up. They have to stay on side here. They've got 3 minutes remaining. Is that a knock on? That's very close. He's just kicking the ball around in there, Eldrick Lowe. But he hasn't been penalised for it. James Lowe, his legs pretty much gave out on him. And what's better, this URC semi or the Super Rugby semi, says RSA every day. That is the type of question that gets me in a lot of trouble to answer. That's going to be knocked on there by Ryan Beard and then knocked on by the Bulls. Although, that's still playing under advantage. Jan Hurson, that's close to a clothesline from Jack Conan. The crowd are not happy, and that is going to make the penalty now in favour of the Bulls. It's going to be a penalty only in this case. Oh, is this close enough for them to go for the 3 here? Which part of the field are we on? They're about, I think, maybe 45 metres out from their own line here, the Bulls, if not maybe a little bit closer, maybe 40 metres out from their line. We're going to see it here. Yeah, 41 metres out from their own line. How much time left? Just 2 minutes left on the clock now. Okay, it's just going to be the penalty there. Go for the 3, says Leonard. But this could get the Bulls through to the final of the URC if they can handle the last couple of minutes. Leinster haven't looked like scoring, I'll be honest. They've put together about 50 phases in the last maybe 15 minutes, and they haven't really got into the Bulls 22. They've called for the shot. This is 60 metres. I know they're playing at altitude, but this is crazy. If Johan Husson is able to get this ball over, and this would give them an 8-point lead. If this kick goes over, the Bulls win this game. If Johan Husson misses it, then the game is still heavily alive. Glasgow to upset Munster, get in, or get it, says bystander. D-Mac on fire, 10 for the ABs for sure, says Cornet. So this one is 60 metres out. The probability is still 26% though, because of the distance and the altitude playing factor for that distance. There comes Johan Husson, 60 metres out to win the game for the Bulls, or at least get a long way towards it. He's struck it, and it's going to be short. James Lowe will run it forward, and Leinster will not give up the ball now, or at least they won't want to for the rest of this game. 60 metres easy for South Africa Skills. Just asked Manny M. Well, he's missed it. That's going to be a loose ball there for Leinster, having to clean it up 5 metres out from their line. Big shot from Nassim Carr. Looked a little high. It was chest on chest. And now they're 5 metres out from their own line here for Leinster. It's going to be hard to make those metres that they're after. Alaratoa thought about the offload. He's making those hard yards, getting it out to 6 metres out. Now back across. Bulls rushing up, trying to shut this one down. McGrath, quick hands. Going off to Ronan Kelleher. McGrath looking both ways, trying to find that next passing option. Doris breaks through. He just couldn't quite get his offload there. It's going to be a tackle and a release. 30 seconds remaining. Halfback taken out by the Bulls, but it's going to be play on. I've been told to use it. Inside ball off to Joe McCarthy. Gets them out to 7 from their own line here. McGrath goes across to Conan like a rock and a stone wall. This backline does not budge for their defence. Frawley moves up to 10 metres out from their line. Pick and go from Caelan Doris. He's wrestled down. Nokia loses his footing, or does he? He gets the turnover, but Leinster trying to take it straight back. They have to release it. The siren sounds, and the Bulls make it to the URC final to face either Munster or Glasgow, but they have held on 25 points to 20. Some would say against all odds, but the Bulls would say another close game, but another day at the office that they get closer to that URC title. Munster to beat Glasgow Bulls will travel to Europe for the final. And Champions 2024 says Gary and played Bulls. Says James there, and Leinster not winning anything again will surely put massive pressure on the coaches, says Fleshman. Glasgow Warriors, says Tony, with the fingers crossed. I called it, says Rugby, and also we have got that Leinster don't make the finals again, says LB, and there as well. But the Bulls have got the job done. It has been a hard-fought victory, that is for sure. Had to take every inch that they could get. Their defence, though, won them this game. I can tell you that right now. Leinster on attack did not look like the same threat that they normally would, and that was down to the Bulls making 90% of their tackles, if not maybe more. We're going to get the stat now. I mean, Cameron Honeycomb is a clear man of the match. He made 12 tackles. He got 2 turnovers. He also made 100% of his tackles. He had the most running meters. He had the most offloads. He had the most defenders beaten. He had the most clean breaks. He had the most successful carries for the Bulls. Every stat just there that we ticked off, that was Cameron Honeycomb throughout this game. But we will mention it, the tackle stats. I mean, it's 85%, to be honest, for the Bulls. It's a little bit lower than I expected, but they were just not letting them through. Glasgow should be a goodie. Tap into the Kiwi Lads Munster Glasgow stream after. Yeah, of course, we are going to be covering that game to find out who will be facing the Bulls in the final. So, ladies and gentlemen, next week, it is going to be the final taking place between the Bulls and someone. Now, if Glasgow win that next game up against Munster, they will be playing in South Africa again, the Bulls. If not, they will be heading to Ireland to face Munster. But this is a great prelude of what we will see for the Irish versus South African series that is just around the corner. Great commentary, thank you, says Johannes. At a close goal, 24-21. Go the Bulls, Hamish, please say. It's pretty much my blood is blue, isn't it? Sean, I believe, in Afrikaans. And well done, Bulls, says... Cool story, bro. On Ireland didn't make it again. Although they've still got another side, of course. They've got Munster, who are looking to make it back-to-back URCs for their side. I'm back in Glasgow, says Manny M. Good job, Hamish. See you soon. And well, that was exciting. Says Stretch Fletcher. And now that was a tough game. Ref was an interesting character. Well done, my beloved Bulls. Feet on the ground. Because, don't get me wrong, there were some bad calls against the Bulls, right? But at the same time, there were some breakdowns that seemed to have no control whatsoever. And I think that both sides probably, when they look back at that game, will feel like they were getting the rough end of the stick. But at the end of the day, the Bulls hung on. And they were able to get themselves that win. It was that last try, Sergio Peterson, that made all the difference. Like a quarterfinal, says Stretch. There's still one Irish side left. Don't get too ahead of yourselves, says Anthony. And the Bulls have never lost a semi-final at home, says the Black Salmon. Good job, Hamish. See you soon, says Gus. And great commentary, Old Bean, says James. And there as well. But, like I said, the next game that we are covering on the channel is happening in 55 minutes' time. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the game between Glasgow and Munster. To be fair, it was the ABs who beat the Irish at the World Cup, not the Box, says Fleshin. And thank you so much, Hamish, says Sue Walsh. And great win for the Bulls. Ireland and their teams are overrated, says Devon. I mean, we can't take away from what Leinster have been able to do throughout this season. Unfortunately, though, it has once again been one of those last hurdles not just for the Champions Cup, but also for the URC final that has ended up costing them the game. And, they will be disappointed with it, and they will know that they have to improve if they want to start getting themselves a few more titles in the cabinet. But the Bulls have an opportunity. They were in the first inaugural URC final. They were not in the final last year. They are in it this year, though. I did mention Leinster fatigued. Bulls did beat the ref, says Outlaw and Cheers Amish, and Leinster have zero attack. It's a one-man attack, James, though. Too much focus on defence from neighbour. They have lost their edge, says Rugby. And also the Bulls have never won a final away from home in the URC, says Ilmar. You got it. Love your commentating more than the game commentators. Thanks, says Sean J. And the ref was wow, says Hensel. I feel like that's a good way of describing it. And I mentioned Leinster fatigue and great commentary. Thank you, Amish. You're a pro, says John White. Thank you very much, mate. And like I said, next week we are back for the URC final, which is going to have the Bulls involved. We are also doing South Africa versus Wales next week, alongside the Super Rugby final. And we've also got the game just around the corner happening between Glasgow and Munster. Now, alongside that, we are also going to be releasing a video either tomorrow or the next day where we do try and predict what the South Africans are going to do in their lineup for their first game up against Wales. Do recommend checking out that video, letting us know in the comments as well who you think will be in the side. It's not well in a good way, says Hensel. I know, yes. Yeah, it was an interesting one, that is for sure. Great commentary for when I couldn't find an illegal stream to watch. Cheers, says Devin. And yeah, thank you very much for being here for this contest. It is greatly appreciated. Everyone tuning in, like I mentioned, a win for the Bulls in this contest. 25 points to 20 in this one. So, close game and exactly what you wanted to see for a semi-final. Now, the next one just around the corner, bloody hell. It's next week, damn, says Flesh. And yeah, we're already into the next pretty much international window. And catch you on the next one, mate, says Bystander. And come on, Glasgow, beat Munster, says Manny M. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That next live stream is going to be starting in around 45 minutes time. We've got 15 minutes of build up before that one. And yeah, it's going to be an epic one indeed. If this game proves one thing about this Leinster team, you take every team seriously by sending your strongest team, sending your C team over to South Africa, did everything. And for them, says Connor Cahill. And go Glasgow Broccoli and Bulls versus Munster final, says Robert. And thank you for exceptional commentary once again, says Daniel. Thank you very much for being here, mate. Greatly appreciated. Be sure to pop in for that next live stream. And if not, I guess we will see you next week for that Bulls final. But thank you all very much for being here. We do appreciate it. And we will be back for that game taking place between the Glasgow Warriors and Munster in an hour's time. We will see you all for the next one.